California is going to be a great place to move to after the war.
You say something about my mom and I'll beat your ass on the steps of the Capitol.
I look like the American Harry Potter right now. It's absurd.
What's the worst that can happen? War, babe. War can happen.
Nuclear weapons are less disastrous than socialism.
Nick's getting me fired up on a Friday.
Good.
Say hi to Eli. He's racially ambiguous, and Brandon, his hair is fucking fabulous. And Donut, a dark joke disposition. And there's a fat electrician. Welcome to Unsubscribe.
We doing this?
Yeah. Everyone ready?
Somebody clapped.
Yeah, I already clapped.
Right.
Dog. Come on.
We
Finn.
cracked.
This is my
That's
first rodeo, dog.
207. Is this 207?
No, you gotta put it back down. You didn't wait for the count to. God damn it, Nick!
This is why we can't have nice things.
Oh,
all right.
We're gonna hold it up.
I'll pretend it.
New one.
Okay.
Oh
Okay,
no,
new
you
one?
can't pretend.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
You got to drink both now.
Right
All right, here we go. All right.
Okay, on the count of three. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
We did it. Mission
better.
accomplished.
Now I've got to like shotgun one of these.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribed podcast. I am joined today by Eli Doubletap, Nick, the Fat Electrician, and other Nick Freitas, and myself, Brandon Herrera.
Brandon.
Yeah. We've finally morphed into the same person.
I'm glad you're wearing a shirt for this.
Yeah. Listen here.
He wore his shirt, his watch.
You know,
Brandon's like, really? This is how this is starting?
Right out the gate.
up until now, I was the only Nick born in Chico, California, to be on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you really born in Chico?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
I swear.
Oh, so was I. Yeah, that's nuts.
It'd be weirder if you weren't.
Right, did you? Wow, what are you talking about?
What a cool fun fact, Nick.
I was born in Texas.
Well, now I'm waiting for him to break into like a 5-minute explanation of my life. Like, funny enough, Nick Freitas.
Today we're talking about.
That was it.
That's what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Into the fat politician.
Did you live there for a while?
Yeah, lived there for like the first 5 years of my life.
When was that?
I grew up in California for the first 12 years of my life. Chico, Orland, Orville, Redding,
Yeah.
Palermo. Yeah.
All right, so when was this? I don't know.
1994 to early 2000s.
We were there the same time. Yeah. Wow.
You're just
How old are you?
out of school.
I'm 45.
Okay, so I mean, you were a little bit older than me. You
Yeah.
were driving a car. I was driving a fucking battery-powered Jeep by play school. It's fine.
Oh, look at me.
It's the
My
same
parents
shirt.
could afford a battery-powered Jeep.
Look at me. My dad stole the neighbor's battery-powered Jeep and spray painted it so he could say it wasn't theirs. Yeah.
Oh, look at me. My parents could afford electricity.
Never mind. Your dad, I can picture. Look, son.
Guess what?
Strange.
Guess
the
what
neighbor's missing one.
Guess what I got for Christmas one year? Somebody else's PS2. Somebody else's.
It's a good dad.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Statute
When kids
of
watching
limitations.
movies. Exactly.
Your father stealing hearts and property.
This is true.
Welcome back. You just flew in last night. You just got in today.
I just flew this morning.
This is the first week we haven't had to travel a whole bunch.
Speak for yourself.
Long time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I've traveled more in the past 6 weeks than I think I have ever.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I think this is the first time we're going to have like 2 weeks staying in Texas.
So fucking stoked for it.
So looking forward to it. I haven't had to get on a plane in like a week and a half.
It's bad when the valet people know you. And not just you, your family, everyone.
They have memorized the last 4 of my phone number.
Yeah. Like, oh, hey, what's up? Fuck.
Oh,
So, Mr. Nick, you flew in from...
I flew in from Virginia. Yeah, so I live in Culpeper, Virginia, which is about 70 miles outside of D.C., so it's like close enough for the airport, but outside of blast radius, which is what I was going for. So,
Perfect.
yeah. I sit there kind of quasi-hoping, but...
You get front seat tickets.
yeah, like, oh, no, that's horrible. And all of our country's problems are solved.
Wait, honey, give
like
me 5
Nick.
more minutes. I want to see this.
Don't ruin it.
Just do talk, baby.
Just Nick getting in a hazmat suit. What are you doing, honey? I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. It's not guarded right now.
It's still the only things worth saving.
I played Fallout 3. I know how this goes.
That is... You joined I don't know your childhood at all because there's not much about it.
That'd be weird.
I know. I was like, not
This
much
guy
on
apparently
this.
does. I was a little creeped out by that.
Yeah, I made it 4 inches down the Wikipedia page.
You were also born in Inlow Hospital.
I was more surprised you did the Special Forces route.
Yeah.
From the reading of it, it sounded like you actually got selected out of basic training.
No.
Okay, I was
No.
like, you
This
are like
is-
the 1% that I've ever known.
No, that's exactly what happened. Like, my drill sergeant just looked at me and said, you son are a warrior. Yeah, like, no, that's not at all how it happened.
Like, you did an 18 X-ray contract and made
No.
it all the way. Fuck.
There was actually a lot of people making it through 18 X-ray at the height of the war because even though one of our principles is you can't mass produce SOF, apparently they wanted to test that during the height of the war period. But no, I went to infantry basic training, then airborne, then 82nd Airborne Division. I was actually going to get out at the 82nd because it was peacetime Army.
What year was that?
That was 2001 is when I re-enlisted. So it was the crazy part was I looked at my wife and I had re-enlisted. I was in the 82nd Airborne, 2nd of 325. I had I just graduated Ranger School and I came back and I said, all right, it's time to re-enlist, but I'm going to go over to 1st Battalion because they were going to Kosovo and that was the closest thing to a war going on. And so I got it all approved because, in your first enlistment, they let you go kind of anywhere. And then my sergeant major brings me in and he goes, you're not going 1 battalion over. I'm like, sorry, Major, what are you talking about? He's like, we've sent you to all these schools and stuff like that. You're not going 1 battalion. I don't care what you do, but you're not going 1 battalion over. So I was pissed. I came home and told my wife, Tina, I was like, babe, I'm getting out. Like, screw this. She goes, well, what are we going to do? I said, my dad was LAPD. I'm like, I'm going to go LAPD. And she goes, baby, we haven't saved up any money. This wasn't part of the plan. Why don't we do 1 more enlistment because they'll let you go wherever you want. I said, okay, you want to go to Italy or Hawaii? She goes, Hawaii. Get to Hawaii 4 months later, 9/11.
What's the worst that can happen? War, babe. War can happen.
Well, babe, I know what I'm doing for the next 10 years. And that's when I volunteered for SF out of the 25th and went to first group.
25th is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a lot of road marching. That was like my biggest fear was getting attached to anything like that. Because it's like Hawaii, beautiful beaches, road marching. And road marching. And this is not like, how far would you road march? A week, probably?
The nice thing about, like you said, it was beautiful. But the nice thing about Hawaii was coming from the 82nd, where they did stupid stuff just to do stupid stuff. You go to Hawaii and you'd have commanders out there like, all right, we're going to a 4-day field problem, but we just got the wave report back. So I think we've accomplished everything we need to. And you'd come in and have a 4-day weekend. Like, it was a different world.
Oh, that's good.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good peacetime army.
Yeah.
And then you got just spun up. And then did you do deployment with them or did you just go
Not with
straight?
25th. No, I went over to, so I went through the Q course, became an 18 Bravo, which is a weapons sergeant, and then did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in 06 and 1 in 08. Yeah.
So you were in Hawaii for 4 months. And then you had to go to, a little bit longer?
So, 9/11 happened, and I hung out for a little while, and then I decided I want to go to the Q course, because that had to be a conversation with my wife as well, because she was like, 3 years in Hawaii. I'm like, or a year. That's also, and then we get to go back to your favorite place in the world, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're born and raised there, right?
Yeah, I grew up on Fort Bragg.
Okay.
Or at least on the periphery of it, because, military families and shit like that. So my joke is that my parents were Army brats who never had the sense to leave Fort Bragg. Not necessarily the greatest place in the planet.
No. When I was going through the Q course, we bought our first house, and my wife took my daughter and went home while I was going through like phase 2 or something. And somebody broke into my house, lived there for 3 days, used my car to fence all of my stuff. And then I had to leave like for a day of the Q course, and they were like, you get 1 day. And I had to go back, like fix it all. I mean, thank God she wasn't home when it happened. But of course, she would have probably shot him. Could have saved us a lot of trouble, babe. Thanks a lot. But anyway.
Wait, someone broke into your house and fenced? Wait.
So they used my
Not
car.
Mexican fencing.
I was like, they built you a
it can
fence?
be.
I want these robbers. Senor, we have to practice getting over it. Come on.
He had to go scale the fence to his own property.
I was so confused. I was like,
Gosh damn landscapers.
Fencing is the video game term for selling.
Selling
Thieving
all my
and
goods.
selling.
You can only think in like Mexican construction terms. Like, hey, Eli, you want to go mudding? And he shows up with sheetrock.
babe, we got to get these guys out of here. Hold on.
Dude, that's
It's one fence already done.
That's
Give
an
them 2
entire
weeks.
series for shorts.
Absolutely, it is.
Me, you, and Cody. Let's go mudding.
Where's the hole in the wall?
Okay, sorry. Now I'm tracking the story a bit better.
Yeah. So then, I went to
fucking wild.
ended up going to first group. Yeah, I always joke that I've seen my wife cry 4 times. We have 3 kids, and the 4th time was when I told her I was going to have to go back to Fort Bragg.
It's not a.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason I left.
Yeah.
God, yeah. You stayed there for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, it just made sense. I just really the final straw, because I've got a bunch of family that are still there, because like my grandparents, they never left after the military or anything. So, but yeah, COVID was the last straw.
Yeah.
It's like I've got like my family, at least on my mom's side, from Texas, like all the way back to before it was Texas or before it was the United States. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to Texas because COVID was just a nightmare with the governor there, Roy Cooper.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. Thank you.
Iowa was awesome. We didn't do shit. We didn't do a thing.
Yeah.
There were like 14 days. We're like, fine. And that was it. Nothing else happened the entire time.
North Carolina was a red state at the time still, but they had a blue governor.
Yeah.
So they had like Republicans controlled both houses, but you had Roy Cooper because Pat McCrory got ousted.
I'm partially scared, but partially looking forward to the day where I have grandkids and they get the assignment at school where they have to go home and interview their grandparents about living through the fucking great pandemic.
Yeah.
And my grandchild's, how many dead bodies did you have to step over on your way to work, Grandpa? Like, literally none. Like,
It's crazy in the states that stayed open. You didn't really notice anything different.
They all stayed open. They just
Except
had
their
stupider
economies didn't
rules.
tank.
Yeah.
Dude, when Jake moved from California to here during that, so we went from LA to Spring Branch. Which Spring Branch is tiny. There's a Walmart and like a Thai restaurant and a Home Depot. That's it. Out in the middle of the country, I had to drive 15 minutes to there and go back. Not much change. You didn't have, everyone wasn't rushing for baby wipes, toilet paper, water. It was all there. Jake moved. He's like, do people just not wear masks here? I was like, what? No.
Why would we?
Why? Yeah. It was just this confusion. He did not know what was going on coming from LA to that world. And then LA just, was it 90% of small businesses
They
closed?
still do. We have to go to LA for, once every blue moon, unfortunately. And there's still like, I'd probably say 5% of people still mask everywhere.
Yep.
Crazy. I think it's just an excuse for ugly people now.
California is going to be a great place to move to after the war. That's what I was saying. Once we can go in and just like secure property again, I want to colonize California. That's what it really needs.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, that's what it needs. It needs some colonization.
I made a joke, and this was actually used by my campaign opponent. They took this out of context because I had said California is probably my favorite state in the country if everyone who lived there didn't.
And they just took that.
And of course, they just California is my favorite state in the country. Clip.
Click.
Yeah.
They're really good at that 3-second sound.
Oh, yeah.
bullshit. I'm sure you're familiar.
Oh yeah. I've had some real good times. With selective editing of political statements.
Oh God, I want to know
Yeah.
what is your 2 worst ones on that, because we didn't know. You always hear the level of legacy media or hey they edit shit. When you see it firsthand, or when you watch your buddy experience it firsthand, from jokes to whatever, and watch how hard they push that to just the general audience, is mind blowing.
Well, the first time they did it to me was actually on a Second Amendment issue.
Really?
Oh yeah. So right after this was in 2018. So it was Parkland.
Yeah.
So Parkland takes place, and I'm on the gun subcommittee in the General Assembly, and this is when the Republicans were in charge of the House, and we just we had all the pro-gun guys on the subcommittee, so we just we listened, we were polite, we listened to testimony, the whole deal, but we were there to protect your gun rights, and so I'm listening to just Democrat after Democrat get up, and if you don't want to do one gun a month, then you're supporting terrorists because they're trafficking guns, and you don't care if kids get shot. And I mean, just over and over and over again, I just got pissed. And so I got up and I went on like this is probably the first thing I ever did that went viral on social media, like super viral. And just did a 7-minute diatribe because I was furious. And I take special pride in this speech because I thought I gave a pretty good defense of the Second Amendment, but then I also caused 3 of my Democrat colleagues to leave the floor in tears. And the entire Democrat caucus requested a 15-minute recess to gather their composure. And I didn't even realize it was in response to me. Like, we all go down into our respective bullpens, right? And the speaker comes in and he goes, so they're pretty mad. I'm like, about what? About what you said. I'm like, what the hell did I say that was so bad? They've spent the last 2 weeks calling us terrorists and every other damn thing. And all I said was, this is why we have the second. Okay. I might have also said that I wanted to remind my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that they were the party of slavery and fought against women's suffrage and put a bunch of Japanese people in internment camps and Jim Crow, not us. That part made him mad. Wasn't false though.
I really don't like facts.
Yeah. No. And so the press gets up, and one of the things I talked about is he said, if you want to talk about crime, then why don't we talk about like fatherlessness? Why don't we go look at the prisons right now and see how many people in there, how many young men are in there that don't have dads in their life? And so I went into this whole thing, and this reporter comes up to me on the floor, and I still had no idea that I just set off a bomb. And he goes, "Did you just claim that abortion causes mass shootings?" And I looked at him like, "How the hell did you come to that conclusion?" I said, "No, that's not what I said. This is what I was talking about. And all of a sudden the headline is Delegate Freitas suggests that abortion leads to mass shootings. I'm like, okay. And
the mental gymnastics.
Oh
of it.
my gosh. And so I looked at this, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to,
You can't defend it.
I'm going to have to publish the speech on Facebook. And just so people know exactly what I said. And the next thing I know, like that ended up getting like a lot, 70, 80 million views. And all of a sudden, I learned 2 things right off the bat. It was, 1, the press will always screw you, and 2, you don't need them.
Yeah.
Yep.
The power of social media is like, new media is huge right now, and I still fight this battle with other members of the Republican caucus. We're like, well, we need to have a press conference. I'm like, oh, why? So the Washington Post can quote you out of context and make you look like an ass clown.
Yeah.
I said, we can just go to Instagram right now, give them our message, and it'll be seen by more people in 48 hours that Washington Post article will be seen in its entire existence.
100%. It's like you ever seen the movie Almost Famous?
Yes.
Yeah. The Enemy. They treat that little kid that as soon as they know he's a journalist, they're like, oh, hey, it's the enemy.
Yeah.
How's it going, enemy?
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's true. Like the odds of you being quoted correctly in context are like absolute like nil. And so yeah, it was a big lesson for me though, that it's like, look, social media is a powerful tool to be able to talk directly to people on what you mean, why you mean it. And what's crazy is that I probably have, like, compared to my colleagues at this point, thousands of hours of like me saying exactly what I think. And so it's almost like they don't even bother trying to clip it now because there's just so much.
Brandon, you look like a man that loves the stonks.
I'm something of a stonkentist myself. Eli, what do you use to track your stonks?
MOOMOO.
Bless you. But what is MOOMOO.com?
It's an internet technology brokerage with a strategic partnership with NASDAQ.
Ah, yes, I've heard of NASDAQ. Stonks.
I didn't realize I was dealing with an expert.
Stonks.
Stonks.
Are you telling me with just one click you can view stocks related to various themes and filter stocks by price, growth rate, trading volume, and more?
Stonky.
Stonky.
MOOMOO is created for beginners, for advanced investors, and fundamental analysis.
For technical analysis, they have things like the heat map feature.
Brandon, what is a heat map?
Well, Eli, the heat map is generated based off of market capitalization, trading volume, and transaction value, helping you identify industries that are potentially on the rise.
So you can enjoy zero delay, real-time quotes with zero additional fees.
So are you ready to take your trading to the next level?
Join over 25 million users worldwide and start trading smarter with MOOMOO.
Use code UNSUB60 or sign up using the link in our comments. Make a qualified deposit and claim your reward now.
That's right. Head over to moomoo.com, use code
UNSUB60
and claim your reward right now. Brandon, what's a reward? I don't know, but you're rewarded.
Don't be rewarded. Check out MOOMOO. I don't think ever before in human history the average person has had so much access to non-curated content.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can hear people in their own words and make up your own decision. You don't need fucking legacy media anymore.
No.
Viewership's dead anyways. So dropping 18 to 22% every year. And then we looked at it the other day. It was your ESPN's during prime time, because we were looking at that one dude, how much he was making a year. McAfee. Yeah.
Pat McAfee?
Yeah, Pat McAfee. His viewership, you see, it's like, oh, he gets about 300,000 peak, 300,000 views. And then everything else is after that. And he is the number one, but he's getting paid like, was it 18 or 20 million per
It's
year
nuts.
just to do it to a lower audience.
Yeah.
And ESPN's probably one of the last things we will see legacy media actually still talking about, because they have the rights to NFL, UFC.
There's a reason people watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything
Like,
else is.
And it's not really for the commentary.
I watch MSNBC for. You know, it's that unfettered access to real people in real time without, you know, getting it spun. And if you do, even just allegorically, I mean, look at our parents. They're starting to watch YouTube more than TV and things like that. We're aging up the internet generation.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
The YouTubes, like, I want to see your numbers compared to primetime history right now. Primetime history has to be.
I beat them.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question.
Like, by what X? Because that has
I've checked. It's by a lot.
to be abysmal.
I think the whole reason I'm here is I contacted you on Instagram, and I sent him a message. I said, dude, if we could get just a couple of yours with like a few less F-bombs, I would use it for my homeschool curriculum.
You have another channel for that, right?
I didn't keep doing it. The problem I ran into was with the YouTube algorithm. Nobody could find it because the YouTube algorithm, I had my editor go through and just censor a couple videos, and the YouTube algorithm just kind of interprets it as like copyright infringement. So you can't even find it if you're trying to.
Can you approve it manually through the copyright?
You can't. I tried to see if
Is
I
it
could
a whole
find
separate channel?
It's a whole separate channel.
Could you make it a separate playlist?
Your algorithm.
Maybe on the main channel?
What if you did an unlisted playlist on your main channel?
Ooh.
Oh, for teachers.
That could be good.
I'm just telling you right now, like I love the first video I ever saw of yours was talking about the naval strikes against Iran.
Yeah.
I can't wait for teachers to be like, they pull up the not unlisted ones for class though. And
So this mother.
My
Hannah, get in here.
yeah, like the Hannah ads go.
my favorite
That would
thing.
go over well the homeschool co-op.
Yeah.
All the people that get mad are like, this is just American propaganda. I go, yes, but did I lie about any of it?
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, fucking, what do you want me to do?
Sorry, we're actually better.
Well, the schools are giving the kids communist propaganda. I don't see why they shouldn't get American one.
This is true.
Nick loves
I love
communism.
communism. Let me.
Did you see Nick's shoes?
I didn't AMA.
Oh my god!
I didn't. I did the Cody. I did the Ask Me Anything on the flight on Twitter, and somebody asks if you could be sitting in a room with a gun with 3 bullets with Marx, Mao, Stalin, Hitler, and Hirohito. Who are you shooting? Marx 3 times.
Absolutely, because that solves so many of the other problems.
Exactly. It solves everything except for Hirohito. Like, it solves all the other ones.
he's
The other
probably
ones
still
just
going
wouldn't
with it. Yeah.
exist.
And even he's not going to do anything on his own.
Yeah, exactly.
Hirohito was the one that decided to surrender. So, I mean,
Oh yeah, no, that was one of our primary reasons for homeschooling is I wanted my kids to have a healthy disdain for Karl Marx, and mission accomplished.
Nice.
They love Jesus and hate Marx. Like, yes.
That's parenting W.
That's
my
right.
favorite. You know, if Jesus was alive, he'd be a communist. Really? Show me in the Bible where Jesus was like, you know what? The Romans should steal all your money and give it out how they see
How
fit.
about thou shalt not
Counterpoint.
steal?
Counterpoint, he did go hungry for 40 days.
There is that.
Testing it out.
Just after 40 days decided communism wasn't for him.
No, that wasn't even communism because he did it voluntarily and only to himself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it already.
I feel like the American dad, like he's looking at the meter or whatever, like blasphemy's getting close. Let's change topics.
With homeschooling, what are you a big history buff, math?
Yeah.
What's your thing?
Oh no, not math. I hate math.
So
With
history?
a fiery passion. Yeah. So math, or excuse me, history, theology, philosophy. Like I like that stuff. And again, it's a lot of it's more like the practical component, but no, that math was the thing that my wife and I both like subbed out to like the co-op. It was as soon as one. And here was the other thing too. Like I remember my oldest daughter. she's like sophomore year of high school. And she's doing algebra 2. And she is hating life. And I totally get this because I hated algebra 2. It's freaking stop putting letters in my freaking math. Like I hated it.
You're going to need it one day. No,
you're not.
I have a fucking
finally,
don't.
She's sitting there and she's just so stressed out. I finally looked at her and I'm like, sweetheart, what do you want to do? And she starts listing off, well, Dad, I'm thinking about these various things. I'm like, you know what? None of those require algebra 2. So you know what? This is done now. And you're a sophomore in high school. We're going to now direct your curriculum toward the things you want to do. And we always told our kids, like right off the bat, a couple of things. It was one, I don't owe you a college education. You want to go to college, you get a good opportunity. I'm not saying I won't help, but I don't owe you that. And you're not going to have that attitude.
Good.
And there's 2 things. Dreams are a wonderful thing, but they don't feed you. I said, so you got to do one of 2 things. You either got to find a dream that feeds you, or you got to find a career that allows you to pursue your dream. But your dreams are yours. They're nobody else's. They're not the government's responsibility. They're not my responsibility. They're not society's responsibility. They're yours.
What if I bitch about it on social media like a lot? Then will the government do it for me? Is that
apparently for some? Yeah, but so they had that mindset, and it was great because you could just adjust curriculum on the fly. You could do things, and I mean.
So my last 2 years of high school, I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, would you like to explain what a homeschool co-op is?
Oh, sure.
So that's probably something not a lot of people are familiar with.
I had no idea.
Oh, okay. So homeschool co-op is generally what happens is you get a bunch of parents together and they realize that, okay, hey, like, so for instance, the kids at our homeschool co-op for a while, they got taught civics by me because I was a legislator. So I'm the one going in there and teaching them about like American government and civics and how it actually works. And they were not getting the Schoolhouse Rock version because the real version is like, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill, but I pissed off someone on appropriations. And so now I'm going to get sent to a subcommittee where I'm going to die. Right? Like they got the real version of it. But that's what it is.
Like teacher, what?
Yeah. Oh no, they loved it because
the Schoolhouse Rock version is the way it's theoretically supposed to work.
This is how it's supposed to work.
It's great.
But that's what it was. Is you had different parents with different like either educational backgrounds or life experience, and they would come in and they would teach stuff they were passionate about.
Today we are teaching math. Okay, everyone get out here.
Yeah. Hey, look, I cheered the U.S. math team when we won. Doesn't matter that we're all Chinese. The point is, right? We import the best of everything, baby. All right. So,
but where are you from? America.
USA #1.
Yeah, USA #1. Okay.
That was my argument on the space landing little like video I did. Somebody's like, I don't know why you're bragging that America put a man on the moon. You guys used Nazis to do it. I'm like, yeah, but so did the USSR. So fuck, penalties offset, first down. Learn how to pick the better Nazis. Nerds.
Sorry, you picked the wrong.
Their brains work better when you can feed them.
Yeah. So anyways, parents will sign up and you say, okay, I want this class, I want that class. Like in ours, it was 1 day a week and they would come in, it was $25 like per month for your kid to come in. And I taught economics, I taught civics, and I taught like Christian apologetics. And so you come in, that's what we did. And then the rest of the week, they're with their parents. So that's like one model of a co-op. Some do 2 days a week, whatever. But that's the nice part is it's free market. Like I would tell the parents, I'm like, look, in fact, when I was teaching them apologetics, which was largely debate, I said, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be days where your kids might come home in tears because I'm going to play the antagonist and they're going to have to defend what they believe and they're going to have to do.
Yeah, but you didn't have to hit them.
Well, you know what? Look, how hard is it to make a correct sandwich? Anyways, the point is, because they would correct sandwich. They would get in and debate. But here's the funny part: is because it's not a government school model. Parents are coming in, and I'm like, look, you don't got to take my class, but this is how I teach it. This is the curriculum. This is what I do. And parents would be like, can we watch? Right? Like it wasn't. They weren't like, oh my poor baby. They were like, can we watch you?
I'm gonna make your kid cry. Can I watch?
But
that's good parenting too.
Yeah. But the great part about it is that and we had the students loved it because it wasn't no participation trophies, right? You show up with a good argument, you win. You show up with a bad argument, I make you feel bad about yourself, right? And then I teach you how to make a better argument so you can feel good about yourself, right? Because winning is great and losing sucks.
You learn from losing.
You do. Mm-hmm. You do. And it's not like we were being cruel.
And you learn it sucks.
Yeah. We weren't being cruel, but like that was the sort of thing. So like a parent would sign up, they'd pay their tuition, and you teach and they'd go home and they'd help, but that's what it was. It was great. And so I didn't have to worry about parents coming in and like, well, Mr. Freitas, I'm really concerned about, well, I told you what this was, right? If you don't like it, your kid doesn't have to be here. But I never had a problem.
As an example, when I was a senior in one of the co-ops I was going to, physics was taught by an artillery guy.
Yeah. Holy crap.
And he like straight up would he knew I was into guns and shit.
Let's say there are guys we don't like right here, and I want to put white phosphorus behind them and then march gunfire towards them.
I'm dead fucking
How
serious.
fast does the plane need to be moving to drop?
You can practice.
It was not that intense, but it was basically like, all right, let's say your drop is X meters per blah, blah, blah. At this distance, what are you, how are you going to do ballistic calculations if you can't do this?
How did you end up designing guns for a living? I wonder.
I was building them in my garage before that, but it just happened to coincide
Let's
pretty
say
well.
you're Assad and you've got a lot of Muslim Brotherhood in Hama.
Let's just say.
Theoretically.
Oh, no.
No, but that's true. Like you can adjust your curriculum based off of your students' interest and what works, and it's awesome.
And you can teach your kids financial literacy.
Yes.
Which is like the biggest misstep that public schooling doesn't do.
Yeah,
That's by design.
Oh yeah.
Guys, when you leave your dogs at home, do you ever worry that they might find your firearm?
Damn, maybe the ATF is onto something. No, I never thought about that.
Introducing STOPBOX.
STOPBOX. I'm sure a lot of you guys and gals have a handgun for self-defense, as we all do. And if you do, it probably fits into one of two categories. It's locked up, but not within reach. Or it's just laying around where anybody could have access to it.
Well, STOPBOX USA solved the problem, and they came up with the STOPBOX Pro.
It's all mechanical, so you don't have to worry about it.
It's batteryless.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
What I love about this is it's TSA approved. Most gun cases, when you want to fly with a weapon, has 3 or 4 little holes. This one has 1, so you only need 1 lock, and then you do your...
Our listeners are getting 10% off if you use code UNSUB, and right now they're doing buy one, get one free.
Oh, that's a crazy deal!
That's 10% off and a free STOPBOX Pro when you use code UNSUB at STOPBOXUSA.com.
10% and buy one, get one! They have to be operating at a loss!
One of my favorite parts about the STOPBOX is that it is actually made in America.
Made in America!
Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with STOPBOX.
STOPBOX.
Well, yeah, our public school system, and I call it a government school system because that's what it is.
Yep.
The thing I like to tell people, because people always look at me like, well, I said, look, do you like state-run media? Do you think we should have state-run media? Like, well, no, of course not. I'm like, okay, now do the same for education. You don't like state-run media because it's the government controlling the flow of information to its citizenry and not being able to hold it accountable. What do you think happens with government-run education?
Yes.
So,
I mean, I think we were talking about that last week, 2 weeks ago. It was, hey, no student left behind. Hey, and they just started incorporating all those things.
Yeah.
And then whatever you have to learn is
It's the Department of Education thing where it's yeah, cool. I don't know. Anything, government's just the black thumb of industry. It's like anything it touches just turns to shit.
yeah.
I like the idea of being able to learn what you want or your passion at that age, because that sets you up for success. I know you were entertainment was a big no-no, probably your generation. I'm not sure. Was it more hit or miss for you? Like,
I love it that I'm now getting your generation.
You want to do like film, you want to do video games or play video games for a living. Like that was like, no.
Still, yeah, it was one of those like, oh, well, you need to learn video arts and this. You don't need to, YouTube, which understandably at the time, YouTube made $0.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, I'm sure they still continue to teach that. Probably not so much nowadays because it's like an accepted thing. But back when I was in school, that was not a thing that was encouraged.
Yeah. I remember still taking like typing. I remember playing Oregon Trail when it first came out on the old Apples.
Yeah, dude. Dysentery.
Yeah.
Every time,
man.
Did anybody see
Ford the river every time.
Your family's gone. Yeah, I mean, no.
But I have all this bacon still.
Time to hunt buffalo.
Oh, man.
God, that fucking game. So you got into Nick's because history buff. What segments of history are your favorite? Like,
So it started off that I came across the Ken Burns Civil War documentary when I was like 11 and just became obsessed, dude. Like I did the reenacting. Like I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna go play with black powder and bayonets.
Yep.
So it was.
I did it for Civil War, World War I, all sorts of stuff. I grew up major history.
Oh God, it's so much fun, man. It is absolute blast. And then going out to moving from I don't know if you know this, California, not a lot of Civil War history, turns out. But Virginia, like you can't walk 5 feet without running into another historical marker. Like I have the district that has the largest cavalry battle in the Western Hemisphere, Brandy Station. And so like so that was the entry point, and then it went into American Revolutionary War history. Then the old World at War documentary series was just awesome, and then got into more of the ancient history as well. So like Roman history, Alexander, Persia.
I still haven't crested that yet.
Oh,
my TISM has its periphery there, and I'm like, that's still. I know enough, but I haven't done the full deep dive.
I love Roman history because I'm a dude, but now it's starting to move into like Holy Roman Empire and the whole deal. But so I love it all. But
what was your first video you watched of his where you're like, okay, this dude's
Proportional.
Proportional means something else in American vernacular. I got a proportion for you.
We didn't say proportional to what.
That's literally a meme. Like that video got so big, it's outrageous. Because it's all just like the Yemen Houthi shit, and the amount of people that just comment things are about to get proportional. Constantly.
Do you got a shirt that says that? That would be awesome.
I did for a while. I sold it for a couple months.
No, that was great. And then, and then again, you got me interested in history. I never would have thought I was interested in, like the history of Waffle House. Like I just thought it was the most delicious breakfast at 2:00 in the morning in Fort Bragg. Right?
Colluding with FEMA.
Yeah. So a good buddy of mine is like number 3 at FEMA. And I saw the video. I'm like, hey, Cameron, is this? He's like, dude. I'm just saying, they know their stuff. He's a former SEAL and he's kind of running the place now, and like great dude. But.
So your video has made it to the upper echelons of FEMA.
Nick's gonna disappear.
After that Coca-Cola video, I might have issues. I'm waiting for that.
They're gonna send a polar bear after you.
Confederate cocaine water.
This is true.
By the way, speaking of cocaine, I've been enjoying one of these echelons.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize that the active ingredient was meth.
It's bad.
I like when you pick it up, you're like, I've been. It sounds like he's shaking.
I was feeling a little down, and I thought I might want to rob a bank.
It's basically the same thing. It's 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I told him, I was like, fair warning, this is spicy, and it's banned in Canada.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yes. I must have it.
See, that's the best marketing pitch that nobody talks about with Echelon. I didn't know that until last night.
Yeah. This is the best marketing pitch on the planet. Echelon's banned in Canada.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what's also banned in Canada? Freedom. That's why I drink it.
It's too cool for Canada.
It's a great ad. Is
I
it
know.
the pepper spray stuff or what?
No, there's too much caffeine per ounce in Echelon, so it's banned in Canada because we were trying to. Because it's on every U.S. military base in the world sells Echelon. And the Canadian military was trying to import it.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get it like through the actual official channels. And they're like, you can't import this in Canada. It's illegal here.
Well, in all fairness, though, given the Canadians' history with war crimes, that might be I don't need them committing war crimes even faster than they normally
but they're always on our side. So, it's all right. You know what I mean? Like,
just give them some Preventin.
Here, drink an Echelon. You can throw that can of food a little bit further into the next trench.
Wait,
will you hand me the experimental Echelons?
Here's a soccer ball.
Right here.
Is this going to make my skin burn?
No, this one.
No, these are.
I was wondering if this was moonshine.
Will you hand me the experimental Echelon B?
B lot cooler if it was.
Right.
B is my favorite.
I had a buddy of mine, Jason Ballard. He actually represents the area of like with Virginia Tech. But he was trying to make it. We have really, really strict like ABC alcohol laws.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Because you guys don't have the private liquor stores.
B.
No,
it's all government run.
It sucks. I know. I carried a bill once to get rid of ABC. That didn't go very far.
You just wanted to start off at D or what?
Jason Ballard. Jason Ballard actually shows up to a subcommittee meeting with moonshine
Hell yeah.
for a bill that was making it legal to make so much of your own moonshine for your own consumption.
Based.
And he's I think he's a lieutenant colonel in the Guard. But I was like, that was the best subcommittee testimony I've ever seen.
Now, is Virginia one of those states where it is legal to have a still, but not to produce moonshine? Or like it was just possession of a still is a crime?
I don't think so. I don't think possession of a still is a crime.
I think it was in North Carolina.
Okay.
I wasn't sure about Virginia.
We have a distillery in Culpeper, Virginia, where and one of the things about Culpeper is we have the first Gadsden flag.
Yeah.
The Liberty or Death Gadsden flag.
Yep.
So we have a distillery there called Belmont, and you go in there and great people. You go in there. I remember talking to him like, "Hey man, how long you been moonshining?" He goes, "Legally for 25 years now." They still have a Prohibition era copper still at Belmont Distillery in Culpeper, Virginia.
That's fucking rad. Yeah. I know. I used to in my travels as a young man. There was I used to go to Thaxton, Virginia, and like just that whole area up in the mountains, like the Roanoke area and whatnot.
Okay, yeah.
I was seeing a girl there at the time, and I didn't realize that one of those counties. I don't remember if it was Bedford County, Thaxton, something like that.
Franklin's another one.
It might have been Franklin. Yeah. One of those is like the wettest county in the world, in the country or whatever, because all the moonshine stills.
Yeah. Do you remember watching the movie? Do you ever see the movie Lawless?
I think that was
Franklin County, Franklin County, Virginia. In fact, my seatmate in the General Assembly represents Franklin.
No shit.
And so we did this thing for a while called the Hall Crawl. So when we had crossover, which was when all the House bills got to go to the Senate, Senate bills go to the House, I started doing this thing where it was, okay, each office had to bring a drink, like that was representative of their district, and a like a appetizer. And so I did smoked old fashions with bacon, and I brought in a grill, like I made bacon in the General Assembly building.
Nice.
And he brought in moonshine. I was like, oh yeah, that's Franklin, baby. That is Franklin. And so he had an assortment of moonshine. And by the way, none of this actually happened. This is theoretically.
It'd be great comedy bid.
I love this comedy bid.
I just announced I'm not running for re-election, so I can give you all the dirt now.
Yeah. And it came in like a mason jar with like masking tape on it.
Yeah, it was all legal. It was all legal and perfectly.
Number 73.
So you know it's good.
See what brand? That's the B.
Yeah,
pretty decent.
that's B.
I'll write down.
What is the flavor?
Berry.
Berry.
It's like sour berry.
I wouldn't go off of flavors because they have changed, or like what we said with the one, which is just now apple.
Give me the yuzu. I'm drinking all of it.
That's my
That one I
dog.
liked.
Is that like licorice?
Huh?
Is that like licorice?
No, it's like a Japanese fruit. It's like a Japanese
I
apple.
was thinking of
type
ouzo.
fruit.
We're tasting a bunch of energy drinks right now. We're all going to be
No, it's fine.
wired off.
I've already
shit.
had coffee and a full
That one I
echelon.
bet he'll. That one fucks. That one's crazy idea.
This is only 100
Making a mass
milligrams.
appeal to
This
everyone.
actually gives you ADHD. All right.
No, apple. Watch. Apple.
Did you have it before? You do now.
Is that water?
That's water.
This is
I grabbed a
water.
water bottle.
This is water.
I grabbed a water bottle
Nice
instead
try.
of the right
Nice
one.
try, big guy.
What? Yeah. Wait a minute.
Although, okay, are any of you old enough to remember when there a time before bottled water?
No.
No.
Yes.
I remember when there was like you didn't. I remember when they.
It was a crazy concept when it
Yes,
first came
I
out.
remember when I
'cause
first
it's
saw
like,
bottled
what
water coming out.
retard's
I'm
gonna
like,
do that?
what idiot is going to buy bottled water? All of us.
It comes from the sky.
It's from a spring in Switzerland. I mean,
Well,
Switzerland, Oregon, but I mean,
What was it, like a $30 billion or $52 billion marketplace in 2023? It was like a ridiculous number. Bottled water is.
Well, yeah, because Nestle took it and they were like, I could sell the shit out of that.
yeah.
Now it's Fiji. Now it's this. And
How good is capitalism? We can sell you bottled water. You
oh, not a fan of that one anymore.
That and as soon as
that
they
the
realized
watermelon?
that,
Yeah.
as soon as they realized that California would subsidize their water.
yeah.
See, I like that face. What's the notes? Tell me what you would change on that.
What are the notes? This is not like I'm not. I don't notes of I don't like it.
No, your notes. Okay, I don't.
I don't fucking like it.
Change of flavor.
I was just gonna say, what would I change? The entire flavor.
This is like
All of it. That's great.
This is me at
Literally-
the winery. I'm getting notes of this sucks. No, this isn't bourbon.
Aged this sucks. Wow.
Did you guys ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Where Aubrey
No.
Plaza's character is like signing up to be a sommelier, and she's like, "Oh, I had oats, notes of like, raven's foot and like,
Making words.
That's me at the winery. He's like, I don't know.
By the way, 8.6 ejects out of a gun very fast.
Yes, it does.
That's what the
I
cut
was
in my
wondering.
head is. It's the perfect ass end crescent of an 8.6 round.
We both have 8.6 scars.
Let me see.
I was standing behind PewView filming yesterday, and I was standing like over his right shoulder. And dink! Right in the head. I was like, that hurt more than any other brass ejection I've
Was it
ever felt.
supers, too?
It was bleeding. No, they were subs. And it punched me in the forehead. I look like the American Harry Potter right now. It's absurd. Kevin's Dumbledore. I'm going to have to go fight the CEO of SIG.
The boy who
The Battle of Hogwarts.
come to die. All they have to do is never mind. I've made enough dropping 320 jokes lately.
Like, no.
Can never have enough dropping 320 jokes.
Do you take a shower and still smell bad?
Do you suffer from thigh folds? Do you know how to play Magic the Gathering? If so, do we have the product for you?
Today's sponsor, MANDO. Do you know what makes MANDO different from any other deodorant?
It's whole body deodorant that is safe to use anywhere on your body.
You can even use it in your butt crack. And trust me, I do.
And you probably should.
I've been to a Magic the Gathering tournament. You should.
Mando comes in solid stick and spray deodorant that is aluminum free.
Clinically proven to block odor all day.
And it controls odor for up to 72 hours. That's 3 days you can go without having to take a shower.
Choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, aka my father's hand.
Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant right now?
You can find them in Walmart, Target, and if you don't want to leave the comfort of your own home, which I imagine a lot of you Target audience don't,
For the best deals, you can go to shopmando.com.
Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers.
It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant,
2 free products of your choice, such as
Mini body wash and deodorant wipes.
and free shipping.
new customers get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code.
That equates to over 40% off your starter pack using special code
Unsub at shopmando.com. Boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. What were you shooting yesterday? Or what was the video?
We're doing PewView's boombox video, and we were trying to catch a hollow point, a subsonic hollow point. We're trying to catch it on a block of ballistics gel.
Oh, how many? Dude, that's like
Zipped
4.
right through. No,
Like big.
Eli,
like,
we took a 4-inch thick piece of hard barn wood, stuck it on the table, stuck 3 feet of ballistics gel behind it. It went through the barn wood, through the ballistics gel. The trajectory in the gel didn't change, like a fucking laser beam. Went 40 yards downrange, hit the steel target, and sounded like a fucking car wreck.
Through the camera, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Cameraman's
No.
fine, because
These
obviously.
Alec Baldwin wasn't on set.
okay, maybe do that. I'm like, I might have to reevaluate this bedside gun.
You know how many gummy bears it took to stop it?
5.
Do you? That would probably stop it. Yeah, we only had 4.
Just the fourth one, it almost slowed down
You're
enough.
kidding.
No, so we
Big gummy bears, not
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
5-pound edible gummy bears.
Okay.
We were dicking around. We just bought them.
I want a photo. Like,
These are the little ones. I'm like, why are we buying all this heavy ceramic crap?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, just running out with like a thin sheet of gummy bears.
That would be, can you imagine how terrifying that would be? You kicking a door, flashbang the room. You shut up. There's some guy covered in gummy bears shooting you.
we were joking before, like you're rucking for 3 days and you're just like chewing your body armor.
Yeah.
Where'd your body armor go? I ate it. No, so 5-pound gummy bears.
Really?
We were dicking around, and they are shockingly resistant
Wow.
to bullets. Guess how many 5-pound gummy bears it takes to stop 9mm supersonic full metal jacket at point blank?
Oh, really?
1. 12 gauge birdshot point blank.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
1.
Jeez.
The second gummy bear caught 223.
This would be so much better than sandbags.
It's crazy.
Minus they might melt overseas.
4.
And we should probably
It's a
now
cold climate.
disclose that we're being sponsored by Big Gelatin.
Big Harbo.
Big carbo.
Harbo, the company that makes the gummy bears.
No, I'll never. When I was when I was still in the 82nd, we had a commander that he wanted to demonstrate to all the guys, like kind of the ballistics impact of everything that, you know, basically what can you hide behind? And so he did like sandbags, he did, you know, concrete walls, he did like reinforced concrete walls, wood, like everything you can kind of imagine, just shot stuff through all of it, like your flak vest. And it was crazy how, like, well, first of all, it ruined any movie you've ever seen, because now whenever they're like, oh, I'm going to hide behind this car, like, the fuck you are. I hope it's the engine block, because I got bad news, Hoss. But yeah, sandbags were the things that, you know, really held up the best. I mean, and it makes sense once you start to understand ballistics. But gummy bears, wow, who knew?
Gummy bears are wild. We did 308 full metal jacket, point blank. We had 4 gummy bears lined up with 1 3-foot block of ballistics gel. It made it like 2 inches into the ballistics gel before it stopped.
Wow.
Gummy bears. They're shockingly bullet resistant.
Well, because you're thinking like at home, you're thinking like the super like squeezable gummy bears. These are like almost like rock hard. Like,
No.
Well, gelatin bears. This is a big gummy bear.
It's literally a 5-pound gummy bear.
I'm saying they behave differently when it's that big versus those big ones, because like they're fucking solid, like very solid.
No, I mean,
But they can also absorb. I mean, they can. I mean, that's
Absorb
the
a
whole
lot of
concept with the
energy.
sandbags is like they're absorbing it instead of just like rigid.
It's like water.
If you froze the gummy bear, it'd probably go through them a lot faster.
Was it water you can shoot? Like from here, I would not kill Brandon with any gun underwater.
I mean, we could try it, I guess, but
I'm down.
Dude, bullets are like whoa, and then they, very disappointing underwater. They just fall immediately.
do you know how shark hunting harpoons work?
The one with the bullets that are long and they.
So it's a harpoon. It's basically a underwater crossbow, and it's a metal spear essentially, but it holds a 12 gauge shotgun shell at the end of it. So when it hits then that's what ignites the shotgun shell at point blank range, and that's what fucking like shark hunting harpoons are.
Oh, there's a.
That's nuts.
Shotgun shell at the end of the harpoon.
There's a shotgun shell at the end of it. So when it impacts, that's what strikes the primer point blank on the shark.
So it's boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's kind of dope.
That's
It's
gangster.
like the shark knives. You seen those where they're just got the CO2 cartridge inside of
We
them?
just blow a baseball bat full of frozen gas into them.
Yeah, you just
Really?
stab them with it, and you hit and it just releases all the CO2
No
inside
kidding.
their body. Yeah,
oh, that sucks.
yeah, exactly.
Then they float up.
Yeah, real quick.
Look, I've seen Jaws. I know how it works. All right.
It went through 4 gummy bears and.
It went through 4 gummy bears and caught it in the ballistic gel. When the 8.6 went through, so the 4 gummy bears,
This is subsonic, by the way.
that's the only way we were
That's
able.
the part that blows my mind.
It's the only way we were able to catch the hollow point 8.6 was we went through all 4 gummy bears, and then we caught it in the ballistics gel. But through the gummy bears, it lost the 3 big petals, and it was just the ass end of the round in the ballistics gel. The petals got lost in the gummy bears, and the exit wound coming out of the last gummy bear was fucking $50 sized gash. It's like a blender.
I
should
gotta
call her.
be honest. I am imagining you like standing like at CVS to go pick up something and looking at this big ass gummy bear, going, "We should shoot those."
That's basically exactly what happened. So we put a Glock switch on a 22 LR Glock
Legally.
and got 30 round mags. Yeah,
When you say Glock switch, I don't know why.
My
It
friend
just
with
sounds
an
illegal.
SOT did it.
Yeah, it just sounds
It was
illegal when you
fine.
call it a Glock switch.
But we were gonna shoot gummy bears with 22, and we're like, oh, this will be funny.
Iowa, not the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, we're literally just in a fucking cornfield.
Yeah.
Like I walked up with a 30 rounds of 22 and a Glock switch and went, and one gummy bear caught all 30 22 rounds, and we're like, and then it turned into we're testing the ballistics of gummy bears video, and it's kind of just been a recurring theme.
I've also learned they're impervious to fire. Try that next time.
Gummy bears?
Yes.
They're not.
What? Like a flamethrower?
They start melting from the rounds passing through.
So we tried torching it with one of those like little like throw flame whatever, or not throw flame, like XM42. No, those are like just big like grow lighters essentially. The ones that actually spit the gasoline.
Okay.
And we sat there for like a minute trying to get this thing to melt, and we just gave up because it looked so boring on camera.
So we took Zach, veteran with a sign, and Eric Bartel out to the range, and we were filming this video, and we shot it, and they were blown the away that it was catching 9mm in like an inch of the gummy bear. It was catching 9mm point blank, like full on, like executioner style, like boof, just stops it. And Zach's like, "We're feeding these to children? What the fuck?"
I hope not. I've never bought any of like here's a 5-pound gummy bear
They're
for Christmas.
wild.
Yeah, that gun is.
I wonder how many calories are in one big ass gummy bear.
I've eaten a couple years.
How many calories is it? Like 20,000
That's like
calories in that
we
thing.
don't have to wonder.
Solid gelatin.
5 ounce.
How many calories in a
curious.
5-pound gummy bear?
5 to 2,000,
Yeah.
20,000.
What is
A
it,
lot.
a 5-pound?
5-pound gummy bear.
6,120 calories.
Wow.
In a 5-pounder?
It's equivalent to roughly 1,400 regular size gummy bears.
Wow.
Huh.
That's
How
impressive.
many?
1,400.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Okay, well, I'm seeing conflicting.
I just got the AI overview.
Yeah, same.
We should ask Sean Ryan. He would know.
Just off the top of his head.
Sean would know. Yeah.
No, everyone's
Oh,
like,
apparently
"Which is it?"
there's another one that's 12,000 calories.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
What's different on
Yeah.
that scares me more.
It probably tastes better.
Who was the guy that was like 6,000 calories? It's not enough. That's not enough. It needs stuff.
bitches.
This
More.
needs stuff.
More.
5-pound gummy bear in Vancouver airport, over 12,000 calories. That's on Reddit, though. Who knows?
I don't trust anything on Reddit.
Oh, well, you'll sell that in Vancouver. 12,000 calories a gummy bear,
Yeah,
but
but
an
not
energy
that.
drink.
I try to give you an energy drink that's awesome, and you
Yeah.
guys get mad at me. I see.
Well, they
how
don't want
it
them
is.
productive. They want them fat.
This is also true. I didn't realize that like 60% of the Canadian population lives further south than like Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like 90% of
In
the entire
Minnesota?
Canadian
Yeah.
population. Yeah.
Like
Really?
that,
Dude,
that little
Toronto,
dip right there
the
on
Great
the
Lakes.
East Coast, that's like 60% of the Canadian population right there.
I think
all
it's
huddled together.
90% of the entire Canadian population lives like maybe
60 miles from the U.S. border.
Yeah.
They're huddled up
Yeah.
next to us for warmth and safety.
Yeah. Understandably, frankly.
Well,
I don't know.
Was it Tosh.0? It's like Canada's got the best border fence in the world. America.
It's cool to be the little hippie when you've got a Kevlar of daring the world to yeah, when Trump kept talking about like we're gonna make Canada the 51st state, I'm like, I'll take Alberta. And
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
Manitoba, but I don't want Quebec.
I have a theory.
Canada doesn't want Quebec.
I have a theory that he's literally just doing it because we have Guam, Puerto Rico. He wants Greenland, Panama,
Yeah.
and Canada, and then he just wants to be the guy that ushers in the 55-star flag. That's his whole motivation. Like, how cool would it be if we added another row?
Yeah.
it's a funny concept, and I love the fact that he's just trolling the out of like Trudeau with it. We don't want Canada.
No.
Like,
Well, I want Alberta. I do want Alberta. I want the Texas
Alberta's-
of Canada.
Yeah, they're pretty based. The Lando Peterson.
Yeah.
But we would never like say goodbye to gun rights,
Oh,
say
yeah,
goodbye to
no,
everything.
no.
It's like, do you really want Canadians voting in our
as
elections?
a territory, but
Yeah, like a Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, sure.
yeah.
There's a diamond company that makes lab-grown diamonds, and they have the most savage marketing I've ever seen because all of their commercials are basically like, it's literally the same thing. You're just mad that child labor wasn't involved. It's like, Jesus.
Yes,
they're not wrong.
correct.
They're not wrong.
Oh, you
I will
value-
pay extra for blood diamonds.
This is the most savage marketing I've ever seen.
That's pretty brilliant.
Pretty much
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just calling
Yeah.
everyone a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Hey, these are cheaper and
Yeah.
You know, maybe we didn't have to kill a kid to get it. That's pretty cool, I
They're
think.
just as sparkly, just as hard.
Yeah.
Not blood all over them, but you still think it's worth less because of it. Weird.
I love
that is savage. That's great.
with the cobalt and lithium and everything like that, all the new mineral wars in Africa.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just blood diamond all over again, except instead of a shiny rock, it's so you can play GTA 6 on a 4090.
I think it's ironic.
graphics card.
I think it's ironic that I got to get.
yeah, blood phone. Yo, my blood phone. How do you like my blood phone?
I like getting lectured. I like getting lectured on oppression by people that are driving around vehicles that require, a 14-year-old to be dumping into an artisanal mine and, freaking DRC to grab their stuff for it.
But electricity just comes out of the earth. It's natural. It's how we all think it works, at least.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit of money to run that.
Don't get me started on electricity.
Fuck.
You might know something about it.
I'm so just. We need to use nuclear power. We're not
Yes.
doing it. It really bothers me.
I was about to go on the nuclear power rant. I'm glad you got there.
The
first.
internet gets really upset when I do it.
We figured it out.
Huh?
Why?
Because people are stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
3.
We figured it out 50 fucking years ago, the answer to all of our power problems, and then we got scared
All the
and never
hippies
revisited
got
it.
scared.
Yeah.
really
Well, okay,
annoying.
so all right, alternative theory. I do think that there's some people that are just ignorant and scared of it. I think there's other people that they want the issue. They don't want green energy. They want communism, and that's why they oppose nuclear, because nuclear would be the cleanest, most efficient, most effective, cheapest long term. There's no question. You start looking at like things like small modular reactors and stuff like that. There's no question that's the future. But then, gosh, what do you do if you can't sell centralized planning of the economy because we're saving the globe?
So that thought is like 1,000 people on the high level.
Yeah.
Everyone below them is just the useful idiots.
Agreed.
It's just, I don't know. All the other green energy sucks. Like wind power is god awful.
Yeah.
You drive. Iowa's got so many wind turbines. It's insane. Half of them work.
Yeah.
And when they're working, they're so ungodly inefficient. It's fucking insane.
There's a ton in Texas too, like in District 23, and down, like especially if you go toward like Corpus, there's huge like wind farms and shit like that. You see the blades traveling down the highway all the time, and the idea of seeing this giant diesel truck carting it out one blade at a time, you start to wonder about the logistics.
Well,
It's
and
like-
the number of oil, petroleum based products that you need to actually keep that thing in operation.
Yeah.
That doesn't grease itself.
Most of them are obsolete by the time they're built. By the time you get all the permits and actually get the fucking thing built, it's 3-generation old technology that's going up.
Well, in Virginia, they passed the Clean Economy Act, which basically gives them an excuse to clear cut forests and carve up farmland to put up industrial solar fields. But then they have the offshore wind piece. And the reason why they can get this through, because all of a sudden we have the big energy companies going in and like, oh yeah, we'd love to do the offshore wind. Why? Because they're guaranteed 10% profit on construction. Anybody want to guess on how expensive it is to build offshore wind off of Virginia Beach?
Shit.
Ungodly.
Yeah.
What was there was a guy they brought on like a literal carpenter, like the British version of King Trout on the BBC, and this BBC journalist, this
Smoking
big
a
old
pipe.
fat guy with like glasses, was like he like brought on this carpenter like he was just going to eat him alive on air, because it was like some debate over in Britain between using concrete and using wood to construct some building or whatever, and the carpenter's just like, yeah, I mean, wood's more renewable. And he's like, oh, really? You're just going to cut down a bunch of trees to build this building? He goes, yeah, the trees grow back. You ever seen concrete grow? And the dude's just like, all right, we're going to cut to commercial break. It just fucking ends the interview. It just torches him on his own show.
God, I love that.
What is the main, other than like the nuclear meltdowns, what is one of the big reasons they don't want nuclear energy as a whole?
Well, you see, Vietnam happened, and a bunch of people went to go fight Vietnam. And then a bunch of people got out of going to fight in Vietnam because they got to go to college. And then they did a bunch of drugs and rolled around in the mud and f***ed each other like hippies. And then they decided that the thing that blew up Japan has to be bad. And then those are all the people that are now college professors. So they got to teach the next generation that nuclear power is scary. That's pretty much all of it.
You have shit like Chernobyl, which led to a bunch
5
of
Mile
nuclear.
Island.
Right. We're not
Yeah.
going to bring up the fact that it was because of, I don't know, communism being violently retarded the entire time that led to it. That
look,
wasn't
they
it.
didn't
That had
have-
nothing to do with it.
They didn't have the HBO miniseries back then, so it was a little harder to discern what happened.
story.
But yeah, the people literally got scared. We did a photo shoot in an abandoned nuclear facility across from, I think, Louisville, Kentucky at one point. And it was like a facility that was built for like $1 billion, right? And was almost finished. Like they have the cooling towers, they've got everything. It's a massive facility. And there was a bunch of nuclear regulation that came in after Chernobyl. And they basically were told, oh yeah, to comply with all these new guidelines, That's going to be another $2 billion to complete it. And they literally walked away. They said it is cheaper to just default and leave than it is to finish this out. So it's like, yeah, you wonder why we don't have fucking nuclear energy. That's it.
They've done that surprisingly a lot of times. Washington State, beautiful places to do photos or shoots at, because you can rent them for like $800 for an entire day. And these are,
because it's useless real estate.
Everything, like buildings to run it. The big tunnels, or like they'll have like 2. How many did that one have?
It was huge.
Yeah.
They let us go into the basement of the cooling towers and shoot machine guns at the concrete like pillars. Like they're like, we don't care, blow it up. We don't give a fuck.
Wow.
It's cheaper. We're gonna demolish it eventually anyway. They're like, just don't die. We don't care.
But they don't, and then they don't ever demolish it. They will. Washington abandoned theirs in the 80s and then never touched it again. People still use it for photography. I didn't even know that one exists.
It's crazy too, because there's certain buildings you can go into, and they have those old, like, you know, the computer data cards.
Yeah.
The floor is just littered with them. And certain times you can get those like old like photographs that like you just hold up to the light, like the film reels.
Yeah.
And shit like that. You're like, man, there's probably some like sensitive information in some of this about nuclear shit.
I can't wait till like the government, you know what, aliens are real. We're gonna put one on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I get to watch Joe Rogan explain to a fucking alien that we've got magic rocks that produce enough power for the entire planet. We just don't use it because people that can't do basic math or have a 3rd grade reading level are scared by them. It's gonna be awesome.
What was the reason the Japanese one failed? It was user error.
It got
plus,
hit by a tsunami. It got hit by a record-setting earthquake and then a record-setting tsunami at the same time. All of the safety features were like, it took 2 literal acts of God to bring that thing to its fucking knees, and it still turned out pretty okay.
Yeah, even then, it's not like all of Japan. Like Chernobyl was communism. Chernobyl was communism. Like, this is what happens when you put communists in charge of anything.
To be fair, Japan had some nuclear resistance built in.
Dude, I did a college history course, and we had to debate the ethics of the nuclear bombings, and I made a girl cry in class.
Yeah.
And the internet gets mad when I tell this story, but I don't care because I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
She was just like, you don't understand the ramifications of the radiation and the blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you literally don't know what you're talking about, like at all. Like here's the municipal website for Hiroshima. And it's like they have they study it every year. You could just live there. There is no radiation. It was an air burst. Like,
look, here's what I challenge people to do. Look at a picture of Hiroshima in 1945 and Detroit in 1945 and Hiroshima today and Detroit today. And what do you end up learning? Nuclear weapons are less disastrous than socialism. Like, that's what you end up learning.
This is science.
Wait, did people think there's still nuclear fallout?
Yes. Yes. A significant portion of these college kids think that there's a chunk of Japan that you just can't.
That there's a bunch of Japanese babies still getting like
walking around with 3
cancer and
Yeah. And it's like, no, it was an air burst explosion. The nuclear material fucking went kaboom. It's gone. There is no, like, when a reactor melts down, it's because the radioactive material melts, and then the radioactive material sits there emitting neutrons for a million years. That's the issue. That shit exploded. It's gone. It's
wouldn't recommend exposure while pregnant, but other than that,
I'm not saying you should go to like a health spa. I'm just saying,
you can visit it.
Yeah,
you've been able to visit it for a long time,
like Ground Zero.
Well, the other thing too. This is the part where I get in fights with people about this because it's like, yeah, look, I don't like civilian casualties. I don't like when innocent people die. But I also understand
hot takes only.
But I also understand that if you look at the projected casualty list for invading the Japanese main islands, and if you look at what the Japanese plan was for defending the main islands, they were going to give bamboo spears to 14-year-old girls. Like, this was not, they were ready to fight to the death. This is millions of casualties.
We've talked about it on the podcast.
Their entire interpretation is literally, oh, well, actually, what they don't tell you in school is the Japanese tried to surrender before America dropped the atomic bombs, and we just did it because we wanted to experiment. It's like, no, they didn't. They approached the USSR and said, hey, we basically want to ceasefire permanently and leave the entire Japanese imperial government intact so they could rebuild an army and fucking do it again. Obviously, that was never an option. The USSR told them that. That was not them trying to surrender. And then you get all the kids that are like, actually, Japan only surrendered because Russia attacked. Oh, really?
Fuck you.
Really? Russia attacked northeast China with the Japanese sea in between, and that's why Japan fucking surrendered. Real quick, what was the Russian Navy like in World War II? Oh, there fucking wasn't one. I remember, because the only way they were going to be able to shuttle troops was because of the U.S. Operation Hula, where we were going to transport it for them. So shut the up. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But as far as the mainland invasion of Japan, we talked about it on the podcast before, but it's still a crazy stat that like Eli's Purple Heart was made in 1945 when they were expecting an invasion.
Like 1.2 million.
That was
Every Purple Heart awarded since World War II, I think, and still several in reserve, were made anticipating casualties of mainland invasion of Japan.
I've read a lot of war memoirs and a lot of different on the ground person perspectives of different wars and interpretations. By far and away, by 100 miles, my favorite fucking interpretation of on the ground events is reading Japanese people's opinion of when the Marines and the Army showed up during the occupation of Japan right after World War II, seeing the sheer level of just grunt, smoking cigarettes, not giving a fuck, growing a beard, just disheveled, angry to be here. Like, how did they beat us? Just furious.
We have so much discipline.
some 19-year-old from Nebraska with a BAR. Like, I want to go home.
I didn't f- around. As a warrior class, it's part of taking over mainland would have been a huge problem. We talked about it before. That was a completely different society. Like their warrior society was a warrior society never seen ever. What was his name? The dude that stayed 30 years.
Hiro Onoda.
And he wasn't the last one. Like there was 2 or 3 people that decade in the 70s, right?
Yeah, I think so.
In the 70s that were still fighting.
Running around the Philippines, killing farmers, thinking they were fighting World War II.
Yeah. What's crazy is that there's so many stories of it. Like it's not just one isolated incident. Like it happened a couple times.
Oh, there was that one guy on some isolated island. He still speaks to graduates of like Japanese. I don't know what their military academy or their officer corps school is, but talking about like loyalty and Bushido and I was willing to put up with a lot more rules of engagement when I was in. Now that my son's going through infantry basic training, and I do a reevaluation of a lot of the stupid stuff that we've gotten into, I'm a lot more. No, just drop the bomb.
Your kid actually joined, and he was like, "Dad, I'm going infantry."
So we like I didn't push the military with my kids, but. Yeah, my son.
Because you love them.
God.
But no, my son. He was. I thought he was going to go. Like he likes welding. He likes again another cool thing about homeschooling. Like we did a blacksmithing class, and like he fell in love with it. So we had a little forge and stuff like that. It was awesome.
So you could teach them practical skills.
Yes, and he was like, I want to learn how to weld. I want to do this other stuff. So I figured like, okay, if he's going to go in the military, he's probably going to go into like a field that's going to put him in that range. Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, Dad, I want to go infantry. I want to go airborne. And then he was talking about the 18 X-ray side. I was like, hey, bud, how about you do RASP, right? Like Ranger Assessment. How about you do that? I said, it's a 4-year enlistment, not a 6-year enlistment. I said, if you want to go to selection, they can't stop you. You can go to selection. It's one of the few things in the military you can go to if you want to go to, and they can't stop you. And he was, okay, so yeah, he's an infantry basic. He'll go to airborne after that. He'll go to RASP after that. And he put the hand up before the election. And yeah, his mother and I both were like, he's like, Dad, I prayed about it. This is where I feel like I'm being let to go. I'm like, all right, son, you got to do what you got to do, right? You're a man. So, but I was definitely, yeah, it is a different thing. Like I won't, when he was sitting there at 30th AG waiting to go off to infantry basic at Sand Hill, and he sends us the picture of, I see the Freitas name tape on him.
Man,
mosquito
I'm
wings.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 It was. Yeah.
Dude, like what? 4 more months, then you'll get those calls like, "Dad, this sucks, dude." Fuck, bro, why didn't you tell me?
We actually did. We got it. Well, the funny part is we got the first call when he actually got to basic, and he's his mom's there and I'm there, and he's describing what's going on, and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Sucks, doesn't it?" But I will say this: there is something. There is something that will give you a great sense of pride when your son is going through this, and he's like, you can tell by his voice and how he's describing it that, yeah, it sucks, but he's into it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's a good kickstart for a lot of people. I think that really disciplines you and then puts your perspective of life. You're like, man, I was handed a whole bunch of stuff. And reality check, okay, this is hard work. This is dedication. This is following other people's orders.
I think, well, and there's something too, like, I really believe this for, always exceptions to rules, but young men in general need to do hard stuff. They need to do challenging stuff. They need to overcome it. Men thrive when we have responsibilities. Men thrive when we have responsibilities, and we absolutely suffer and become the worst versions of ourselves when we don't. So
I think reality check for me, like military war, blah, blah, blah. But the kiddo, when you had that, like when I had Ryden, that was my biggest, like I did another switch. I was like, oh, I have to focus everything on this. Or I have to start dedicating my life to make sure this little thing is taken care of and good for however long. I'm probably going to fuck it up, but I'm going to do my best to not fuck it up.
Yeah.
Versus out in the wind, you don't learn anything. Or if you don't have responsibilities day to day, like, you get complacent as fuck.
Oh yeah. Well, when Luke was like 7, we were watching. Have you seen that movie? What's it called? Freaking with Hugh Jackman. It's the one with the robots.
X-Men?
No. It's the one with the robots.
Real Steel.
Real Steel.
Yeah.
So it's like Rocky,
X-Men.
but with robots, right? And so I'm watching it. I got my 2 daughters, my wife, and my son, and he's just sitting there watching this thing, thinks it's awesome, right? And I look over at Tina, and he's 7, 6 or 7. I look over at Tina, I'm like, "Hey, babe, you know what the agoge is?" She goes, "What's the agoge?" I said, "The agoge is where the Spartans sent their kids off to, it was like their first stage of kind of like warrior training to be like a hoplite.
4 years in Dagestan, forget about it.
Forget about it. But I said, "Do you know how old they were?" And she goes, "No." Like I'm asking my wife, "Do you know how old the Spartans sent the kids?" Like, "No, honey." I'm like, 7. She goes, "Why are you telling me this?" I'm like, "Watch." I'm like, "Hey, buddy, come over here. Come on." Like, we're watching that. So we're doing this. And it was the first time I ever like pop, not hard, but enough to like shake him up. And he just goes, "Ah!" And he like comes in, he's like, fighting the whole deal. We're doing, he's having a blast. And Tina looks at me and she goes, "What just happened to my little boy?" I'm like, "Oh, no. He's not yours anymore. He belongs to me now." and I will say this, he still loves his mama like nothing else. But yeah, there's a certain point where Dad's got to take over. And,
That testosterone.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, when they don't,
yeah.
that's when you have catastrophic
Yeah.
life trajectory.
Yeah. Men need challenges.
Not every case, obviously, but
the vast majority. I'll tell you what, like I got married at 19. Went in the military, got married at 19. One of the best decisions I ever made. But that whole idea of having responsibilities early on and challenges and things you had to go through, and in an environment where nobody cared if it sucked, nobody cared if it was hard, nobody cared about your feelings, nobody cared about any of that. That was hugely developmental. And I look at a lot of challenges that I think young men are facing right now, and I can't help but thinking to myself,
Bruh.
yeah, it's like, I was actually listening to somebody, he was talking about, he had talked, actually it was Dennis Prager. He was talking about, he was given a speech, and he was talking to World War II vets. And, he said World War II vets they focused a lot because they grew up through the Great Depression, and then they went into World War II, and they were talking about giving their kids, the things they never had. And he said, I had this moment where I was talking to him. I said, "I get it, but as you're giving them the things they never had, please remember to give them the things you did, like the resilience, the challenges, the no sense of entitlement." And we see what happens when you get everything handed to you. You don't become better for it.
It's what we say all the time as far as like wanting to give your kids enough, give them the things you never had, but also want to make sure they have enough trauma that they're funny.
Yeah, right. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Spoiled little shits.
Yeah.
You sons of
Yeah,
This is true.
Well, one, and you can see it too, because when you raise your kids that way and they see other kids and the way they behave, they look at them. They're like with you, going, "The hell's up with that
Fuck is
kid?"
this?
Yeah. We used to always point out the kid like screaming in the store, like, "What would I do to you if you did that?" "Oh, Dad, you'd crush me." I'm like, "All right, good."
My wife gets mad at me. I yell at other people's kids in public.
You're helping.
Don't shake your head at
we're
that.
at the park.
Don't shake your head.
We're at the park and somebody runs up and like, it was like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 year old, but they were like running around and he shoves my 4-year-old and the mom is like, "Oh, little Timmy, don't do that. Play nice with others." And then I'm watching and he runs around and does it intentional again.
Yeah.
And I look at the mom and she looks at me and "Hey, quit." And that kid starts crying and they leaves. It's like,
That's
I
when you
don't
look
give
at
a
him and be like, "It takes a village, right?"
You do the fucking True Detective season 2. It's like, hey, anything you do to my kid, I'm doing to your dad.
Bro, that was one of my favorite interviews is Daniel Cormier. Champ,
Yeah.
light heavyweight, UFC champ.
Big boy.
Olympic gold, bronze medalist, Olympic wrestler, like badass dude. And he's talking about being at the park and like very similar situation, like a bigger kid's picking on his kid. And then like the dad doesn't do anything about it after the second or third time. And Daniel Cormier just like allegedly looks at this dude like, "Hey, just so we're clear, whatever your kid does to my kid next, I'm going to do to you." And the other commentator's like, "Daniel, you can't say that." He's like, "Well, I fucking did." Which is weird because he's like one of the friendliest, like nicest, like dad dudes on the planet. And just like, nope.
Well, there's a difference, too, between friendliness and weakness.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Dude, Daniel Cormier would be terrifying, dude.
He's so funny because
I'm gonna hit my kid real quick. Sorry.
he's funny because like,
Timmy, come here.
dude, he's hilarious because he has like, there's been like multiple fucking reels that get uploaded by like just normal everyday people because he teaches his little kids wrestling team.
Yeah.
And there's like other dads that are just like, like I wrestled in high school dads that are like filming a reel of them like this with Daniel Cormier in the background. The other team's coach is Daniel Cormier. So I guess I'll just go myself.
Remember fucking Mighty Mouse was talking, Demetrius Johnson coaching for his kid? Like, that sucks when you look across, you're like, okay, you're going to beat that. His dad is Demetrius Johnson. You're going to learn about losing today, son. It's a good lesson.
Remember, son,
Go get him,
it's
Tiger.
about having fun.
Fuck, dude.
We're going to learn how to get back on that horse.
Are you big into MMA or boxing?
So my son and I, we did Brazilian jiu-jitsu and boxing for a little while and whatnot. And it was great. I wish we would have started a lot earlier. And then I got to traveling so much, but I'm trying to get back into it because I thought it was one of the best workouts ever.
How much traveling do you have to do as a delegate? Sorry, not to derail.
Oh, no.
but
As a delegate, not a lot. I mean, some within, but a lot of it's flying around the country and doing other things associated with that. But no, I need to get back into it because one, it's running on a treadmill is unacceptable. But the cardio you get with freaking jiu-jitsu and boxing, like, oh my gosh, that, and I just think men should know how to fight. And so, yeah.
It's crazy watching somebody that doesn't know how to fight try to fight. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Whoa, move out of that punch this way. Or on the ground, they're just trying to like, dude, when somebody doesn't know how to tap somebody out, it's just like, it's like you're squeezing them harder and then you're awkwardly hitting them with usually here, breaking a bone.
Like all the Twitter fight videos where it's just dudes doing that.
Yeah, flailing.
It's like, I mean, yeah, I guess you can get lucky and that's going to hurt a lot, but what the fuck are you doing?
Well, it's the guys that believe that, well, if I ever really had to, I would just see red and then get your ass kicked. Like,
See red and then black.
yeah.
And then light.
And then nothing. Yeah. And you wake up. Yeah. Your family is mine now.
Like, fuck. We're getting back.
That's the other thing too. Like again, with my kid, I remember when he started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu and boxing, like the confidence level with everything, not just with that, but the confidence level with everything goes up significantly. And yeah.
Dude, there's a little kid that's with our kiddo's 9-year-old class at boxing, and there's 2 Mexican kids that are like, when they get in, they're like, I'm like, bro, they will beat the out of you. You like listen to them. Like those kids are they grew up hard. And you just see him like teeing off on the back. I was like, oh man, those kids did not get bullied ever. One might be a bully.
That's the kid that bullies your kid.
Because your little kids are already
2 and 4,
but they're
Cutter's starting jujitsu.
just rolling around. They got
That's
the little
great.
kid
I wish we
geese.
would have started
Tiny
earlier.
geese.
Tiny
How
geese.
old are your kids?
9 and 13 going on.
Yours 2 and 4. Yeah. I got mine are 22, 19, and 17.
Oh, you're about to be an empty nest. Dog.
That's blowing my mind, man. That is blowing my, because for my daughter got married at 21, and then she left, at 20, and then 8 months later my son left, and now my daughter's about to graduate high school, and my wife and I are looking at each other like, oh my gosh, because we weren't just used to having our kids around all the time, which we love our kids, but like all of their friends and the whole deal, and then all of a sudden. And I mean, it's exciting for Tina because we're going to this next area of life, and we like each other. Like my wife's hot. Like I like spending time with her. But
That helps considerably.
Oh my gosh!
Sure.
Name 3 things. She's hot.
What's
We said you like spending time with her. That's important.
What's the movie with Terry Bradshaw?
You can have a hot wife and not want to spend any fucking time with her.
What's the movie with Terry Bradshaw where he's the dad and his kid finally moves out, and he's just like, finally, now that you're out, this is gonna be my naked room. It's just him and his wife watching TV in the naked room all day.
All the rooms in the house couldn't get back into play, right? It's like looking outside. Is my youngest daughter off to work? All right, baby.
It was.
The kitchen is now in play.
We have so much room for activities.
I'm gonna ruin this place.
Oh man, my kid will see this, but like, really, Dad? Like, hey, it's nice to know that Mom and Dad like each other.
That's why a priest came over.
Would you rather occasionally hear stuff like this or have 2 Christmases?
Well, hold on. Are both Christmases dope? Double the present sounds pretty good. Otherwise, I got to hear you guys fucking. Wait, let's drum on one of those.
Oh man. So you were in the Virginia. You were a delegate in Virginia for 10 years now, right?
Still am. Yeah, I'm in the Virginia House of Delegates, the oldest continuously legislative body in the Western Hemisphere.
So you are from there. You just announced last night that you're no longer going to be seeking re-election.
Not seeking re-election. Yeah, 10 years is enough. I mean,
that's a crazy amount.
Oh, and it feels longer than it was sometimes. But
For somebody like us, it's a crazy amount. For your average lifelong politician, that's just getting started.
Well, and that's one of the things that whenever people ask me now, like about like, I'm thinking of running for office, like the first question I always ask is, what are you willing to lose your seat over? If you can't tell me what you're willing to lose your seat over, the answer is nothing. And you will compromise in order to keep your seat because you'll convince yourself that you can't get anything done if you can't get reelected. And that's the slippery slope. Like if you can't list off right now the things where like I would take that vote, lose my seat, and smile about it, I don't want you anywhere near elected office.
Yep.
But some people, not all. There's good. I serve with some really good people. But there's a lot of people. They get their identity. They get their identity from serving in public office, and I'm like, dude, my identity. I get my identity in Christ. Then I get it in being like a husband to my wife, a father to my children, a vet, whatever. But I mean, speaking of history earlier, right? Like I represent James Madison's district.
Oh, that's cool.
Right in a legislative body that tracks its history all the way to the House of Burgesses, which means we've been in operation for over 400 years. There is something truly cool about that. And believe me, the first time I walked in the Virginia House of Delegates, I remember they escorted me in, said, delegate-elect, wait here. I'm going to go find the other people because I was a military guy. So I was like 30 minutes early. And I remember sitting there, it was just quiet. And I'm sitting in that chamber going, there's got to be a mistake, man. There's got to be a mistake.
The imposter syndrome kicks in.
Oh yeah, big time. It goes away quickly when you meet your colleagues. But anyway,
Did you try wearing a tuxedo tank top while you did it?
I
It
did
helps.
not. I didn't have that kind of boldness. But yeah, no, it was. I looked at it, it was 10 years, and there's still stuff I want to do, and obviously the things I believe in, and there's a lot of ways to fight for it. It doesn't have to be politics, because I think that the cultural component is what's the part that is most in dire right now. But I think it's good to just pick a time where it's like, look, find somebody that you think will do a good job, find a good replacement, and then bow out and let them take a crack at it. I think politics is better when we don't have a bunch of people that are trying to do it for 30 or 40 years.
Yep, because a lot of those people don't have anything else.
Yeah.
They've never had anything else. Their entire, like you said, identity. That's all they've ever been. They've never produced anything in the free market. That's their claim to fame. That's all they've ever done.
Yeah. I will. One of the things about the other thing too about a state legislature is that with the exception of 4 states, all of your state legislatures are part-time. I mean, you still got full-time constituent services requirements and whatnot, but in Virginia, you get paid $17,600 a year to be a delegate. It's not supposed to be a full-time salary. You go down, you have 60 days in even years, you have 45 days in odd years, you go through 2,000 bills in that period, and that's it. You're done. Go back to your district. That's where you live. That's where you work. Get a real job.
That's the way it was supposed to be.
It should be. Congress should be that way.
Yeah,
Congress should be
100%.
that way.
I wanted to propose something where I was like, I want the salary cap of congressmen, like elected representatives, to be the median income of their district.
Yeah.
That's the salary cap.
Yeah. I think you should get lodging per diem for staying in DC, but that's only enough to when you're there. You don't get it, so you're not buying houses in DC and then staying there.
That's
most
bullshit.
Of the
I
time.
want them to have barracks.
Yeah.
You're a public servant. I want this to be service like the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want this to be fun for you because it's not supposed
I
to be.
want them to bring back when politicians would actually fight each other. Just saying. I think that'd be way cooler.
The argument I
get
heard
views.
against it.
That's the fastest way to get rid of all the 70-year-olds. Saying.
The caning of Charles Sumner. It's like you say something about my mom and I'll beat your ass on the steps of the Capitol. We used to be a proper country.
I approve.
I
like it.
The argument I heard against that was that if you lower their salary, now you're just giving them incentive to be corrupt and take deals on the side. I'm like, they do that already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the point. Is or I'm increasing the incentive for people that are actually successful outside of politics and can now afford to go and just do the right thing for fun, to go and do that.
Exactly.
That's a meritocracy. Good.
Crazy.
Oh, fuck. I want people good at their job. Horrible person.
People who have, had employees and built businesses and know how to balance a budget. Nick's getting me fired up on a Friday.
Good. This is the earliest unsub we've ever filmed.
What time is it? Oh, it is.
It's
really
almost
is.
1:42.
It's almost 2 p.m.
I'm already upset.
Usually we're still just getting to brunch.
Yeah.
Normally.
Brenner. What are you going to do? Anything since you've been kind of in that wheelhouse of politics again? Are you thinking maybe
Do it?
I really still don't know. I have a lot of people trying to I have a lot of people trying to bully me into running again, and I feel like we would do really good if I did.
Do it.
But it's the question of I've met with a couple people that are looking at running in that district too, and I'm happy to give them advice, say this is what I learned, here are the pitfalls, but here's basically the roadmap. Here's what I did. But I told him flat out, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do right now, because I don't know if I want to run back the worst 9 months of my life, because that fucking sucked. Running for office is fucking shit. I really want to hear Nick's opinion on this too.
Yeah,
because they basically I was being asked if I was going to run for House again.
Yeah.
Oops. I'm like, the big decision is I feel like I do a lot better this time, because I missed it by 407 votes in a primary runoff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I also don't know. That was the worst 9 months of my life by far.
Yeah.
Bro, he has the funniest smear campaign I've ever fucking seen in a mailer. Cody has it framed on his wall.
Yeah.
It's a Photoshop picture of him, and it says Brandon Herrera's all hat and no cattle. And it's him in a cowboy outfit with a comically large Turd Ferguson cowboy hat. And they sent that out as slander. It's the funniest ad I've ever seen.
And I bought a Turd Ferguson hat. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah, brother.
So I'll say this. I do. again, not having done a deep dive into the race and just what I know about it, I do think if you ran again, you'd win. Because I don't think the smear campaigns work the second time around.
Yeah. It's the 8 Mile thing.
Yeah. The other thing too is that and from what I understand, it's a solid red district, right? So
It is like you could shoot someone on live TV,
Right.
as long as you win the primary. You're
Got
good.
it.
Because it used to be a close district. It used to be like maybe a +2.
Yeah.
Now it's like a +15.
So I ran for Congress, and it was during COVID. That was fun.
You ran for House or Senate?
House.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
House in 2020
I knew you
against
did a
Abigail
Senate.
Spanberger.
Okay.
That was a $20 million race because it was considered one of the top 5 races in the country because of how close the district was.
Oh, shit.
And I'll tell you right now, you don't want to be in that kind of district. That sucks. Your whole life is going to be fundraising. When I had to run that race, I hate fundraising with a fiery passion. Like I despise it. And when I had to run for Congress in order to try to be successful, 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, I was on the phone fundraising.
Dialing for dollars.
Miserable. Absolutely miserable.
I always felt
job.
so weird about
Yeah.
that. I would rather, in the way, and this is where I guess I was kind of unique in that way, but
Yeah.
I hated doing that. I didn't really do it.
Yeah.
I told my consultant, I'm like, I'd rather just work harder on my own businesses and make more money and put my own money in.
Yeah. It's
do that.
like it's tough. It sucks. So here's what I'll say. Like, I mean, I think you'd win. And obviously, I think you'd be an excellent voice in Congress. And God knows we need people, especially in Congress, because my biggest fear right now is I see all these people. We have a program we do called Doge Watch, and we highlight everything Doge has done for the week. And I have all these people going like, Doge is finance, but why aren't they acting? I'm like, because they're an advisory committee. They don't have any executive authority. They can make recommendations, and the executive branch can do certain things. But the only way any of this lasts is if you have legislation, which means you have to have members of Congress willing to actually carry the bills. And the number of people that we have willing to do that is nowhere near what I think most people think it is. And so we definitely need people that are willing to do it.
Why is that, Nick?
Why do we not have enough people willing to do it?
Yeah, why do they
are
want to
the
get rid
people
of their
in
money?
office? Why are they not willing to do it? I know where this.
How much time we got left?
The amount of money on your Doge Watch of like spending your last one you just did, it was 25 million or 18 million to hire the people to do the same thing for like $25 million.
Oh,
it was
the
wild. I was like,
the
Jesus.
IRS spent $15 billion on an IT modernization program that's 30 years overdue. It's still not there. It's still not there. But you look at this stuff, and here's what it comes down to. You go look at the House right now, right? We have the House by what, like 5 seats? So they're going to look at it from the perspective of how do we maintain the majority. So they're going to look at everybody in purple districts, and they're going to say we can't do anything that puts people in purple districts in jeopardy. And so now the entire House is going to be subject to whatever those 15 seats need or don't need. And everything is going to be how do we maintain the majority?
The majority doesn't fucking matter if you don't do anything with it.
Yes. Like, yes. And this is the part, this is the one thing that I hold out hope, right? There are so many people, if you look at Trump's approval ratings, there's a ton of people that didn't really like Trump, but voted for him because he wasn't Kamala Harris, who now like him. Why? Because like the guy or hate the guy, he does what he says he's going to do. And people are seeing action. And if there's one thing that people actually appreciate, especially a wide swath of people that don't necessarily follow politics but are tired of business as usual, they like somebody that actually says they're going to do something and goes and does it. Not to mention the fact that they've actually done an excellent job with new media on highlighting the absolute waste. It is really, really hard to have any sympathy for, oh my gosh, I can't believe that poor person at USAID lost their job. You were sending $50 million a year to DEI scholarships in Burma. Burma's a military junta. They're committing atrocities against Karen tribesmen right now.
20 years civil war.
Right?
Like,
It's
they
like,
had
well,
bigger issues.
Yes, but is the genocide equitable? That's the part that we're really concerned about.
We want to make
Right?
sure the executioners are equal parts male and female.
Exactly. Do you have any trans executioners? Like, if you don't, that's a real gap in your DEI, facilitation.
My
But-
favorite one recently was the almost $1 billion, I think it was, that the national park system wasted on a survey to ask people if they liked national parks.
Yeah, right.
$1 billion fucking dollars.
The Department of Interior, well, it gets worse.
That's the one.
The Department of the Interior spent all of this money on an internal, so they had an internal contract to develop their own customer satisfaction survey. And then they contracted out to a company to do customer satisfaction surveys, right? This is the sort of stuff that is going on. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're cutting this. Yes, good. Cut more. Somebody asked me once, they're like, well, Nick, what would you cut from the federal government? This will be far quicker if I tell you what I'd keep.
Yeah.
Right? You can have defense.
Afuera.
Yeah, oh my God. Javier Milei is still my favorite. Right? Javier, like, why do you call these socialists? Because they are. But no, I mean, that's really where we're at right now. We got too many people that are so concerned about maintaining the majority that they don't do anything with it, and then they lose the majority. And it's like, that's not where people are at right now. Not to mention the fact that it's just cowardly. Eventually, you're going to lose anyways, because if that's your mindset, you're never willing to actually provide an alternative.
You'll lose your base.
Yes.
Yeah, your base wants you in because you're going to do these things. And if you don't do those things because you're worried about losing, like it's so circular.
Yeah,
it drives me crazy.
And this is we did an interview with Rand Paul, and Rand Paul and Thomas Massie were the two guys that vote no against the continuing resolution, and Trump like really went after Massie.
Yeah,
and I look, I'm a big fan, but I'm like, dude, don't go after Massie. Massie was one of the guys that's like fighting this fight when he was the only one doing it. Like. Holy hell!
Those always feel like mommy and daddy are fighting.
Yes,
I'm like, God, like I like both of you. Would you please just listen to each other?
This is why career politicians shouldn't be a thing, because they get elected to go do a thing, and then they get there. It's like the knight goes to slay the dragon, but then the knight realizes if he kills the dragon, he'll be out of work, so he becomes a dragon conservationist. No, just kill the dragon and go back to your farm. You got shit to do.
It's right there. Here's a sword. Fucking
Now the donkey's the dragon. We've got little half donkey dragons running around. Shrek is pissed. Things are horrible.
Hey, now you're an all-star.
But to your question, I mean, we need more people in Congress that are actually willing to. Again, they're willing to lose their seat in order to accomplish something significant. But then the other side of it is look, the inextricable reality about representative government is you get the government you deserve.
Yeah.
And so a big part of this now, my belief is that if you want better politicians, you got to have a better electorate. And you got to have people that actually understand what the government is actually there for. And this is another reason why I usually, look, I trash government-run schools a lot, because for the same reason I trash state-run media. If you want kids to be skeptical of government, right? Not understanding that, yes, some government is necessary and there's legitimate functions of government. But if you want to be skeptical of government, but then you're handing them over to the government for 7 to 8 hours a day for their education, what do you think they're going to be taught about government? And I think that's a big problem of what we have right now, is they're just absolutely convinced that, of course, the government feeds me. Of course, the government educates me. Of course, the government takes care of me. I just got in this fight last night with some lady. Well, what are you going to personally do? I'm like, I don't know. Sounds like a family issue.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can't say that. Like, the government's got to. No, that's the reason we're in this problem, is because the government assumed you tried to replace dad with a government program, and guess what? It didn't work. It didn't work.
You can't legislate it. There are certain things you cannot legislate. You cannot legislate personal responsibility. Period.
That might be the most jarring thing about being an adult for me. Was I don't like when you're a kid, like second grade, third grade, like the fucking homeroom teacher is like the hive mind of humankind. Like he or she knows everything. Like there's a disagreement, you go and you ask the teacher, whatever the teacher said, that determines who's right. And then around 25 people I went to high school with and partied with are becoming teachers. It's like, I've seen you do cocaine. What are we doing here? Like, wait, my teachers, maybe they didn't fucking know everything.
Well, I would say one of the big, regardless of how you raise your kids, one of the biggest problems I see right now is when kids don't see their parents as an educator. Right. And so you'll see kids come home and their parent will say one thing, the teacher will say another thing. The kid will side with the teacher. Why? Because you told them that's your teacher. That's your expert. That's the person that knows things. They've got the college degree in education. What could you possibly know? No. I am the primary educator for my child. That doesn't mean I can't utilize resources outside of myself.
You're a contractor.
Yes. Because, well, and again, what do we always say in the military? You can delegate authority. You can't delegate responsibility. I am ultimately responsible for the education of my children. Again, I can use outside expertise for subjects I'm not as good on, fine, but I'm still an educational authority in my child's life. Now, two things. One,
Okay, that's a big responsibility. 2, I better be worthy of it. Right? So I better know a little something about this world. I better be able to model for my kids what it means to be a man, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a father, what it means to be an educator. And yeah, that's going to require some work. But I will tell you this much. If you would have asked us when we started like homeschooling, we were super intimidated. Oh my God, super intimidated. I'm right out of the military. Tina's like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this. And we had all these grandiose ideas like our kids are each going to speak 3 foreign languages and learn a musical instrument and play 2 sports. By the end,
They're
we're
not
like
Asian.
By the end, we're like, do you love Jesus and hate communism? Yeah, mission accomplished, right? Like we have done it. But honestly, one of the I will say this over and over again, and I always get a little bit, the greatest compliment that I can give my wife, especially, is not one that I give her, it's the one that my kids give her. Because if you ask each one of my kids, they all have different objectives, they all have different professional goals. But if you ask each one of them, what do they want out of life? One of the first things they'll tell you is, I want to get married and I want to have kids. Why? Because my wife created a home for them that they cannot wait to replicate for their own family.
That's awesome.
What is a better compliment than that for any parent? That your kids want to replicate the life you built for them. And one of the things that we accomplished with this is we didn't get it always right. They didn't always have the same resources. If they would have went to some other area, yeah, they would have had better labs and they would have access to more musical instruments and whatnot. But I gained back thousands of hours with my children through the most formative years of their life. And now I have a relationship with them that I wouldn't trade for anything. And there's something to be said for that.
I talked with Hannah's uncle, my wife's uncle. He's been a school teacher and school administrator for over 20 years in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I mean, he's pretty left leaning. So if me and him agree on something, I was like, okay, well, it's got to be right if we're agreeing. But I asked him what he thought about homeschool, and he goes, it's just better. If you do it right, it's better. He goes, there's not a single study that's reputable that says otherwise. He said, in 15 minutes in a one-on-one or up to either 1 to 4 or 1 to 6 setting, you can achieve in 15 minutes what a public school can achieve in about an hour. And he goes, so if you actually legitimately homeschool your kids, you can achieve an 8-hour school day in 6 hours. And then you can take another 4 hours to go explore anything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 hours, you can accomplish what a public school does in 8. And he's like, then you could take another 4 hours to explore anything else, martial arts, sports, anything you want. And then you still gain 2 hours extra at home with your kids.
Well, and look, take aside any, let's not, I won't assume the nefarious nature, even though I think some of that is there within the education system. Let's just say everyone's doing their best. It's still a mass production model approach to education. It's mass production. That's what it is. It has to be. Because that teacher, what is that teacher supposed to do? Give individualized attention to all 20 students in a classroom? That's an unrealistic expectation. So what it affords you is an individualized model of education. And one of the most important things your kids can learn is that education is not a building you go to. Education takes place. Education is merely the transference of knowledge, hopefully useful knowledge, and wisdom to go along with it. That's what it is. And so now everything, whether you're making dinner or whether you're doing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or whether you're doing a math problem because you're teaching your kids how to run a small business, all of that is now education. It's not sit here. This is another thing I think too, especially with young boys. We have all these things that we now classify as learning disabilities, ADD, ADHD, all and look, there's clinical definitions of these things, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But how many learning disabilities all of a sudden become capabilities in a very, very different circumstance or environment, right? If you're going to put that rambunctious boy in a chair and say, sit here, be quiet, listen, and do your stuff
that you don't care about
for 6 hours a day that you don't care about. Oh yeah, his behavior is going to look a whole hell of a lot like a learning disability. You take that same kid, you put him in a different environment that is far more kinetic, far more interactive, and then all of a sudden, all of the things that inhibited learning in that environment, all of a sudden become capabilities and advantages in a different environment. I don't think it's ridiculous to consider that.
So I can't wait to see Huffington Post tomorrow. Nick Freitas says abortion causes ADHD.
No, there's a TED talk about ADHD, pretty much exactly what you just said. But the story they used was in like the 1920s. I think it was Britain. There was a girl that just couldn't pay attention in class, and they couldn't get her to do it. And ADHD obviously wasn't a thing then. And the teacher told the parents, your daughter needs to be a dancer.
Yeah,
and
I remember
they
seeing
sent her
that.
to dance school, and she became a ballerina. And then, like, fast forward in life, she ran the most successful ballerina academy, like, in the world, that's like still renowned to this day.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then if you would have sent her to school in 2020, they would have gave her meth and told her to fucking do math quietly in the corner.
Not everything's a square hole.
Yeah.
Well, and they're finding out. What's really fascinating too is they find out things like dyslexia. Yes, dyslexia will make it more difficult for you to potentially read on a flat page. But if you actually put someone in a different environment, because my son had mild dyslexia, put that kid, reading a book, it's difficult. He's got to focus more in order to do it. Put that kid behind a 3D printer or give him some sort of like, three-dimensional thing. He can think and see things in a way that like I can't put it together the same way. And so again, it makes this thing more difficult, but it makes this thing way easier.
Whoa.
And so
it's almost like the entire education system was built to turn out factory workers.
Crazy.
and conscripts.
Yeah. I don't even have to ask what your son is 3D printing.
Print guns, not money.
Oh, we're putting that on a shirt.
That already is.
Guns, not money.
That's a renowned libertarian aspect. Yeah, what are your political values? Print guns, not money.
What was your with your son? What was his weaknesses? And as you were saying, he's like, he sucked at this, but he really shined in these things. What were a couple of other?
So he had
superpowers,
a more difficult time reading and spelling. I give him crap about it still. I'm like, bud, like I know it sucks, but you still got to get it right, else you're going to look like an idiot. But whenever it came to anything with construction, anything with again, we went to a homeschool fair once, and they had a blacksmith there. And he's out there in forge hammering away, making stuff, and he's like, could we try that? Like, yeah, let's do it. And I figured, because again, I grew up in a schooling model, so I figured we're going to show up, we're going to get a PowerPoint presentation on the history of blacksmithing. We get there, and homeboy at Platinum Starch Forge goes like, all right, so here's the forge, here's some iPro. Let's go beat some metal. I'm like, this is awesome. And so we bought a little one, and now like my son's out there, and it was funny. I was in session, so I was gone, and I was giving him assignments. I'm like, hey, I want you to, you're going to develop this. You're going to do your best job developing this. Watch this, channel on how to do it. And my wife calls me up. She's like, baby, I just want you to know it's so great, and it's so inspiring to see Luke just really passionate about something. But when you give him a deadline that causes him to be in the garage pounding steel at 2 a.m, that kind of impacts the rest of the family, babe. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. But no, he was just, why? Because I didn't tell him to do that. I gave him a deadline, and he was passionate about it, and he's out there just hammering away. And so, it was stuff like that. And again, it's not that it was like, oh, well, son, you have difficulty reading, I guess we won't worry about literacy. No, you still got to learn how to read, man. We still got to power through this, right? But it was just incredible when you put those other opportunities out there, and he can do it in a way that I just can't. Like, he can see a project and imagine it in his mind and then make it work in a way that if I was doing it, like, I'm going to be honest, I was that dad where I was putting together like the girls' bicycles on Christmas morning, like, but
still that way.
But yeah, he can just see it.
It's always crazy how
You get wrapped on Christmas Day. You have a bicycle minus a tire and then a tire.
I wonder.
There's two presents.
Figure it out.
I wonder what my kids got for Christmas. Oh, more shit for me to do. Terrific.
Dude, dyslexia. Working with true dyslexia is the weirdest, like, wild. And it's every part of their life is taken over by that thing. You're like, why I can't? And they just see everything backwards.
Yeah.
Years later, it will still write an S, a 5. Like, everything just blends in.
I'll get it
like,
like sporadically with different fonts. And the only thing that I can think of is like, wow, having true dyslexia would suck.
Yeah.
it's fucking wild. I've never seen it. And then I have now. And I'm like, oh, this is
different.
Yeah. Ryden's brain works, again, completely different autism, so it is what he likes, what he doesn't like, how he can fake stuff, how he can't fake stuff, and then day-to-day activity. I just got text today that he's been commenting on the one channel he does watch because they do like GTA recs, and he hasn't done a GTA rec in a month. So Ryden has to tell that in every comment.
Why have you stopped?
Yeah, literally,
schedules, man, schedules.
Violated your posting schedule.
He's just going to start texting or commenting their IP address.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
You
what.
need to re-upload.
Insane Gats.
Okay.
Shout out to you for dealing with my son. Thank you. Well, if Insane Gats is not posting GTA 4 videos, then how could I re-upload Insane Gats GTA 4 videos to YouTube? Ryden, first question. Oh, dang it. It's been like 4 weeks. That's so long that Insane Gates is still not posting GTA 4 videos anymore. This is a disaster, and it's all my fault. What am I going to do? You know what? I'm going to just give up and go to sleep. Thank you for just saying go to sleep. I'm proud of you for that. Because I am so tired. It's like all... and then he finishes, I'm just going to go to sleep in my bed for 1,000 years. Wah. Ryden. Text mom. I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to work on him commenting on some Japanese anime. Go on.
Just Eli's just sitting there like, what is the reply to that?
Yeah, I was just like,
Sounds good, son. I love you.
I was like, but we can't talk like that. We can't blame people for them not uploading what you want and then also saying you're going to re-upload their content. I wouldn't be a fan of that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's definitely not Eli low-key bullying another YouTuber into making more GTA 4 content. Now there's going to be 100 unsub people in that
don't do that. Do not do
more
that.
content for Ryden.
Motherfucker, you knew what you were doing when you did that. Don't even play.
I don't want him to do more content. I was like, I told Kylie.
I don't want him to make more content. Let me read off his channel name so people don't go over.
He's had a shout out. He does unsub, like goes and thanks him. He actually replied to one over. Hey, thank you for actually mentioning. I appreciate it. Everyone was like nice because I apologize for riding in one of the past episodes.
Eli's like, dox him if he doesn't upload.
We want our 4 videos.
You know what?
It would be a shame.
You know what I remembered the other day that I had completely just forgotten about for like 2 years? The first time we bullied a company together on
Which
my
one?
second unsub appearance, the rim company that would give Eli
Wheel- something wheels. What was it?
Getyourwheels.com.
Oh.
It was so funny.
Let's see what the reviews are. Right?
Have they recovered?
That's the free market.
Yep. Hey.
Do you know that story?
Bro, he had this
I would
set
be
of
shocked
rims.
if he
He
did.
had this set of rims. One of them was at a round, and he went to like 4 different tire shops to get his car rebalanced over and over again. Every time he gets over 45, whole car starts shaking.
Yeah.
And then he finally takes the rims to a machinist and puts them on dials, and like you're gonna see it. And I mean, the dial is just going like this, like it's not a round rim.
Yeah.
So he hits up the rim company and is
This
like,
is after I sent them back, by the way, and showed them dialed. Had you pay for shipping big ass wheels? It was like, here, like here's a video of it wobbling. Here's the issues. They sent it back like, nope, it's good. And then,
so he's like,
You gave a proportional response.
he told him, he was like, hey, we're like, I don't want to like talk about it on the podcast or whatever. Just, you know, can I just like get what I paid for? And they're like, they told him there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Oh.
And then we
Is
got,
that really what I forgot? Is that what
Yeah.
they
Did they really
said?
say that?
they said there's no such thing as bad publicity. And then
We
I go,
determined that was a lie.
I go
Fact
off on
check false.
I go off on a Fat Electrician rant about how society's built around technology. First we unlocked thumbs, then we unlocked pointy sticks, then we unlocked fucking circles and wheels, and you guys are f***ing up level 3. And they got a hold of him like the next day. And Eli's like, well, your guy said there's no such thing as bad publicity. And they go, well, we fired that guy. And when your friend insinuated that a rim company didn't know how circles worked, apparently that was, in fact, bad publicity.
Oh, that's awesome.
4 months, dude, 4 months of like
that's
back and
awesome.
forth trying to be like, hey, I don't want to bring this up. Like, can you get? Like,
Yeah.
I just want that one wheel. It's one fucked up wheel. It's a custom one, but it's
Yeah.
a paperweight outside of it.
Yeah.
We'll take 10% off your next wheel purchase. I was like,
Yeah, no.
And then dial indicator, everything showing it's banned. I was like, he's like, no, they just checked out their balance. It was like, you can balance something. You can balance a f***ing square. It is not the second it is on the road at a certain speed. Here is what's going to
It's
happen.
not a balance issue. It's a circle issue.
Yes. Here.
It's pie.
Held up the phone. They were like, oh yeah, it's fucked. It's and I was like, there, what can we do?
The radius of the circle is different at different point.
And then
You have a different shape
The
now.
funniest part is even the rim company that was not the website.
Oh,
so
the
it was
second
it was
rim.
like the manufacturer, the salesman. The problem was with the salesman. Even the rim company reached out to you and apologized.
Day one, dude, like video uploaded next day, call from said rim company on like the one that owned it. And 4-Star, I will give a shout out to 4-Star and Logan for like all the help. Because they're like, yo, what? Hey, we're all in an office right now watching a video about we can't make wheels.
We don't want a Fat Electrician video on the history of the circle.
What happened? So they were just like, we got your wheels next. Like here, they said, and I was like, thank you.
We
guys.
even put them on a car for you. Here you go.
Eli tells this entire story as if he didn't just bully a fucking GTA 4 car crash YouTube channel.
It's nothing but GTA 4 videos from here on out. Thank you, Daddy. The plan has worked.
The credits are always going to say thank you, Ryden.
That's all I want, boy. I just want thank you, Ryden. Anytime a GTA 4 video pops up in that channel, thank you, Ryden.
What's the channel?
Insane Gats.
Insane gas.
That's the new unsub shirt. Wear more insane Gats content? Question mark. Unsub branded merch.
Just like, oh, I'm not even making money from this.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Some poor YouTuber out there is like, what do? I make content for Ryden. That's my whole job now.
Thumbnail changes to a Ryden face. It's a Ryden re-uploading his content for.
Insane Gats?
Insane Gats.
Are you leaving the comment now?
No. I'm just writing it down so I know what to watch.
God, I always forget about the wheel company. Those poor, not the other people that did find out.
There is bad publicity.
Dude, and that anytime when it comes to car, that's also they drove the forklift through my wide body kit and like broke it, and then they dropped it off. I had to call them. I was like, "Hey, y'all fucked this up." Like, no, we didn't. I'm like, who signed for this? Because I want it. You signed for it. I was like, I did.
Yeah.
Your name is. Oh, it was the driver's name. Never mind. You didn't sign for it.
Yeah.
Huh? So then I had to get it taken. They fixed it really, really fast, thankfully. One of the few times. Rim company. Thank you. Fuck, dude. Oh.
It's a whole new level of bullying.
I know what habitual line crosser, Ethan's wife, she's like, so we flew out to Oklahoma. So we have a show on Pepperbox called Habitually Fat, where me and Ethan just go to like military museums and like get a guided tour.
Oh, cool.
It's like 2 hours long. It's really fun to shoot, but we flew out to Oklahoma to do. They have an air defender. It's technically not a museum because everything in there isn't demilled.
Oh.
But it's like a museum where they take all the air defenders and they walk them through and give them the whole history from like World War I
Oh, wow.
to modern era. It's really cool.
It's just it's not a museum if it's not demilled, so it's basically just an armory.
Yeah, it's just an antique armory essentially up to modern era. And I flew out to Oklahoma to go to Fort Sill. I flew Fenn, our camera guy, out, and I'm like, got there at night. Went to the hotel, woke up. I was at a Waffle House across the street, and I get a call from Ethan. He's like, hey, Public Affairs just found out that you were coming, and they pulled it. Even though I had permission from the Air Defender chain of command and
Why'd
the
they pull it?
museum. They're just like, well, we need 90 days to review his content. He might be doing a hit piece for the military. I was like, fucking Google me. It'll be overwhelmingly apparent that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
he's like, well, now I will. For
right.
the PAO office.
So I'm like scrambling to like find a different museum that we can just make something, get a piece of content, because I paid for these flights. I got my camera guy out here, like just trying to get something out of it. And
Turns out not a whole lot. Fort Sill, right?
Yeah. There was a cowboy museum we were going to go to.
Really?
Yeah. So
I'm immediately back in.
I called Eli, and Eli's like, I could call that one number of the guys we know. I was like, do it. And So Eli calls, and like 15 minutes later, Fort Sill gets a call from, you have to bleep this part out. Fort Sill gets a call from the telling them to let me onto base to do whatever the fuck I want.
And give him a White Claw.
And so I got to go on base, and Ethan's like explaining it to his wife, and she's like, I love how these guys just strive to be the bigger bullies all the time.
Only when bullied.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, be the bigger bully.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been to any of like the really big international military museums?
Mm-mm.
So the two that I've been to that really stand out is one in Paris. The I think it's the École Militaire, and then they have the Enfiladas. That's where like Napoleon's tomb is.
Is that where they put up or they display all of the German equipment they left behind?
Yeah. You go. What's cool about it is that you've got like the medieval period, so they've got like a full-on horse in armor with a mounted knight. So you've got that, and then you go to like the Napoleonic era. They've got like all of the various units within the Grand Army that are like just decked out with authentic uniforms and the whole deal. That's super cool. But surprisingly, one of the coolest military museums I ever went to was South Korea.
Really?
Oh, shit.
South Korea's military museum is better than anything I've ever seen in the United States as far as a military museum. It's like 5 stories where you go back and they've got what is it, Yi Sun-shi? He was like a famous admiral that like fought the Japanese.
The turtle boats?
Yes.
Yes.
So they've got all of this stuff.
Why is
there,
that familiar?
It's like a whole
there
story.
There was actually a movie called The Admiral, which is a South Korean movie. And it's about like, he literally had 13 ships against like technically it was 300 Japanese ships, but it was really like 120 like combat ships but still like he had 13 ships, like one turtle ship.
Still
and
almost 10-1.
What's a turtle ship?
I'll show you right now.
It's like, think of like like it's a big boat that like has an ironclad component on it with like spikes, and then it has a cannon. Yeah, it's pretty.
Basically like
When was this battle?
It's like what the
1500s,
Spartans do with their
1600s.
shields and just
Yeah.
have the spears pointing out, but it's the boat version.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, what is this story? I've never heard of this.
The Admiral,
Holy shit.
Master and Commander, I think is, or no, that's that one with freaking what's his face. But no, it's called the Admiral. It's like South Korean. It's a movie, but it is a badass movie. It's awesome. I've seen it like 6 times. But you go to their museum, and like I said, it is one of the best war museums I have ever seen.
This is Japan just was
No, this
trying
is
to
South Korea.
Well, no, but Japan trying to infiltrate.
Yeah. When
South Korea or
Japan did
Korea
their
at that time.
invasions, it was right after like the warring, not the warring states periods of China, but you had
Right before the Edo period of Japan.
Yeah. So you had like the Shogun period and whatnot, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but anyway, they launched the several invasions of Korea, and Yi Sun-shi, I think is the name of the South Korean admiral, but just in epic stories, like incredible. Like Yi Sun-shi, there was the Japanese managed to infiltrate the South Korean court, and the first time Yi Sun-shi saved South Korea from a Japanese invasion, they infiltrated the South Korean court, convinced them that Yi Sun-shi was a traitor. Literally, like they tortured him and retired him. And then the Japanese invaded again, destroyed a South Korean fleet. They brought him back. He had like 13 ships to work with. He was ordered to abandon the fleet and basically cannibalize his troops to become a part of the South Korean like army, or not South Korea, but Korean army, Joseon period. He basically, refused to follow the orders, and then with his 13 ships, turned back a 300 ship Japanese invasion fleet. And you look at the story of it, it's just incredible. The guy eventually died defeating like the 3rd Japanese invasion. And he essentially ordered himself to be propped up as he was dying, as he was mortally wounded, because he didn't want his the sailors to lose heart.
Yeah.
Won the battle, and then it was like, oh man, he's dead. Right. But
That's wild.
no, dude, it's and again, the way they did the Admiral, I got to tell you, man, the Chinese and the Koreans, they do some badass war flicks.
Very
gosh.
good fucking.
Especially if
war
you
flick.
like that era, like Red Cliff was a great war movie.
You are speaking Eli's language
Oh,
right
dude.
I
now.
love like any of their war movies.
Oh, it's
They've been doing it for so long. And from martial arts movies to war movies, you think America for war movies, but they do really, really good World War II flicks too.
So you know that most of the Clint Eastwood movies, most of like the cowboy movies, are based off of Japanese samurai
Akira
movies.
Kurosawa. That's why you have Seven
Yojimbo,
Samurai,
Sanjuro,
Yojimbo.
yeah,
my guy knows it.
Oh yeah.
Toshiro Mifune is the main actor, and Akira Kurosawa is the
He's
main
the Clint
director.
Eastwood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're awesome. They're awesome flicks.
Even Star Wars is based off of.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Star Wars is based off of Akira Kurosawa's
Janus Films.
So I think we're getting into my favorite conspiracy.
Oh.
Every Jedi is supposed to have like a different fighting style that's supposed to be mirrored off of Kung Fu.
The Hidden Fortress.
Literally what it's based off of. One of Toshiro.
Oh, dang. I'm going to look that up. My son and I will geek out about that.
You know about Darth Jar Jar, right?
Dude, I love it. Yes.
That he's actually a Sith Lord.
Well, that's like part of it is because every Jedi is a different Kung Fu style. Like Crane, Mantis, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's Drunken Fist, Kung Fu, and that's his thing. Yeah. Just being an idiot, yet somehow being outrageously combat effective.
I feel like they are just trying to rehabilitate a horrible character.
I don't care. I loved him. He was hilarious.
Did you? I didn't even watch the last Star Wars. Like I refused to. Like I remember watching. What was it? What was the first one that came out under the
Force
Kennedy?
Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Oh my gosh! I watched that. I'm like, this is the worst retread of A New Hope I've ever seen. And
did you hate the original, like Phantom Menace and stuff?
I didn't hate it. I didn't like it.
Okay,
like,
so it's the older dude. Watch it. Like everyone that is younger, they're like, it's great.
No, it is not great.
Did
It
you
is
watch
not
it, Peter?
great.
No, I was like,
it is not great.
I was a child, so it was awesome to me.
I was a child.
Look, I will say this: it's
I
acceptable.
was
old were
6.
you?
I was in
It's
6th grade when it came out.
acceptable.
You were in 6th grade. You weren't 6, asshole.
But okay, sorry. What year were you born?
94.
So
I was like 6.
No, you were like 1.
Wait, when were you born? Wait, how old are you?
Phantom Menace came out in 1999.
40?
I'm
Okay.
almost positive.
I'm the only one here. I was
Phantom
9?
Menace came out in 1999 because I was 5 or 6. It was
Okay,
the
you were
first,
5, yeah.
It was the first memory I have of going to a movie theater with my parents ever.
That really?
Yes.
See, I got-
So like I love it because of that. You know what I mean?
And
So,
look,
like,
that's acceptable. I'm not. That's
that was
acceptable.
Star Wars for me. Also,
That's why you like it.
the thing that drives me nuts and like a big part of the reason I think I'm like as successful I am with YouTube is I hate telling stories out of chronological order. Like books, everybody else does. Like anytime we're doing flashback shit.
autism, Nick.
Like we're doing shit. He was born here, he died here. We're filling shit in chronologically
That's
the
fair.
entire time. So like part of me is just like, okay, we're starting at episode 1 because obviously, and then I get to episode 4 and it's like, why the fuck is this made out of clay now? This is horseshit.
These are puppets. What the hell?
You're wrong. Like as I got older, I can appreciate the actual storytelling of it or whatever. But like as a child, trying to understand, like what the fuck happened between 3 and 4? Why did the graphics suck? Yoda's a Muppet now. I'm pissed.
Well, you ever heard you're so OCD, you're CDO because you got to put it in alphabetical order. No, look, I can appreciate no budget we had. I can appreciate that, but it's like we're at a point right now where
Exist computers do not. Sorry.
I will say
the Kennedy era needs to just be like locked in a box, thrown in the ocean, and forgotten about for 20 years, and then they can rehabilitate it. Same thing with freaking Rings of Power. Like
Thank
what they
God.
did to Tolkien, I just want to.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be beaten.
complete opposite on that side of the spectrum. I don't enjoy the film as much if I know every actor didn't have to sit in makeup for 17 hours before filming. I don't. We can CGI it. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Sit your ass in the chair. No, you can't.
Who played Gimli that he was allergic to it, so he fucking hates that movie with a passion.
Oh wow.
The main actor of Gimli, he
Good.
was
It bled through in the
allergic.
character.
Oh, dude,
Exactly what I want.
Just
They did it
I
on
want an
purpose.
angry dwarf.
Yeah.
They did a great job. He despised that role just because of that.
I still enjoyed The Hobbit, though.
I didn't. The Hobbit gets trashed a lot. I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it. I
was
fucking hate the elves. Nothing made me hate the elves more
Yeah.
than The Hobbit. It's like, oh, here's the dwarves showing up riding
War pigs.
pigs
Yeah.
with war hammers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they built a 3-level high, perfect goddamn shield wall. What do the elves do? Let's
Jump
over it. What a fucking
Dumbest
idiot.
move ever, right?
Holy
Yeah.
shit. Why don't you just stand over the short guys with spears and go like this, you idiots?
Shield wall. What are you doing?
Yes.
Dumbest
Just
thing
saying,
ever.
you know what I mean? You think China built the Great Wall? And they're like, you know what would be really good if we sent all the soldiers on the other side of it? That'd be perfect.
Oh,
no, it'd be fucking stupid.
But it was almost as bad. It was almost as bad as season 8 of
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, where it's like, you know what we should do? We should take all of our trebuchets and put them way out front where they can be eliminated first. And then you know what we should also do? We should just take all of our cavalry and just run them headlong into the army of the dead.
Before we fire any of the
Before we
trebuchets.
fire any of them.
Yeah.
Before we fire any of them.
Don't use your artillery first.
Yeah.
Send the horses.
It's like you couldn't you could have called 2 nerds and they could have walked you through the process of how to do this correctly.
But I love they do the surprise Pikachu when all the cavalry die. Like, whoa, we sent them into battle unsupported and all the lights went out?
What?
Operation Human Shield. Oh.
Operation. We can't say the other one, right? I remember that particular South Park movie.
Oh, no.
Wait, what? Human Shield Battalion.
Oh, I have a great story for you. I finished the video before I came here. Flux finishing the edit for it now. So I did a video. I told you this last night.
Last night, yeah.
I did a video on Joe Foss. So he was the other hero of Guadalcanal after John Basilone. So Joe Foss was a Marine aviator in the Cactus Air Force. Dude shows up and they pull up off of Guadalcanal and they wake him up at midnight. They're like, hey, we're just going to have to launch your ass in your Wildcat fighter at night, which is not, you're not supposed to fly Wildcats at night. They're not night fighters. They don't have night. They're like, Japanese Navy surrounded the island. We can't get any closer. We're just going to have to fucking yeet you. You're going to have to fly in there and sneak in. So he flies in and sneaks in. And his first 9 days, I think he shoots down 12 Japanese planes. And he ends up tying Eddie Rickenbacker for 26 and setting the American record. He became America's first ace of aces of World War II. And but he has this story where he goes up and he shoots down 2 Zeros and his guys shoot down the other 4 and they just wipe out this whole flight of Japanese Zeros. And he goes and banks and turns around, and when he turns around there's just several empty Japanese parachutes with the back rig just floating empty. And he's like, the fuck? Well, he had no idea at the time. This was 1942 or very early
before.
43, before anybody understood the Bushido, Japanese would rather die than surrender or be captured or whatever, the whole dishonor thing. So he's just where'd the guys go? And then he comes up on one dude still in his parachute and he's like, I watched him unbuckle and plummet to his death. Wow. And he's just like, huh. All right. And then he just goes and lands the plane.
Well, they would jump out and then they would just fucking,
they would
parachute.
jump out the parachute and then be like, all right.
Hey, what's the clip you're going to use after that?
Oh, yeah. The clip that I'm having Fluck edit in the thing is from The Good Guys.
Or The Nice Guys?
The Nice Guys, when the dudes, when they go back in the elevator and the dude falls from behind him, and then it's going to immediately cut to Dana White at the press conference. That was weird, huh?
Is that your next big story you're doing?
Yeah, it should come out here in a couple days. I think the 31st will come out.
Get that good Nick content. I think on that note, we can close it down and go to the Patreon
Before
channel?
we do that, I've got one question though.
Oh,
So you've got all of your political stuff. It's coming to a close.
Yeah.
Your kids are going off and starting to become successful in their own right, which is awesome. What's next for you, man?
He's hanging out in the naked room.
We established this. I already told you. My wife
Stupid
and I
question,
are
I suppose.
Yeah, well, how did that nurse outfit show up, honey? I don't know.
Kitchen counter's back. Yeah,
He must have ordered that on Amazon.
I know the kitchen counter's back in play, but
There are no surfaces safe.
No, not that cutting board. The other cutting board.
Yeah, mom and dad can visit me.
That one's for a different kind of charcuterie. Oh my god!
You said what?
your wife doesn't watch your interviews at all, does she?
She, yeah, sometimes. Anyway,
No, I think two things. I mean, we'll still. How do I get serious now? Well, some of it we already kind of talked about, like the homeschooling and the whole young men thing. I think we're at a point, just kind of culture in the United States, where young men are going to revolt. There's been this absolute onslaught on what you might call traditional masculinity, what I call biblical masculinity. It's the idea that men are supposed to protect, we're supposed to provide, we're supposed to do these things, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And but we're at a point right now where I think a lot of young men have just been told that there's something wrong with them and that they're responsible for. I think it's fascinating. They've been simultaneously told that they're stupid, fat, lazy, and worthless, but they've also somehow managed to infiltrate every single social, economic, or political institution to uphold the patriarchy. Like, which is it?
Yeah, but
Right?
and if you're not stupid, fat, and worthless, then you're alt-right.
Yeah. And so
You work out and try to build something
Right.
of yourself and climb the social hierarchy.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you. You're bad. And so some of it, we're very, my wife and I are both very, very passionate about trying to provide like greater capability or resources with respect to people, the parents that want to take a little bit more control of their kids' education. I think there's a huge market right now for, reinforcing to young men that, yeah, you are supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be competent. You're supposed to do all these things, but it has to be in service to something, right? It can't just be in service to your own like hedonistic pleasures. It has to be in service to, God, your family, your country, because again, men thrive under responsibility. And we started doing, when we started really getting into social media, it was funny. I was talking to Tina a while back, and obviously we talk about politics a lot, and we'll continue to. But I call it, what do I get stopped at the airport for? And what I've noticed is I don't get stopped at the airport for people saying, I really loved your political hot takes.
It's usually Your Cool Gun by TSA.
You did this week. But no, it's the stuff that always has the most meaning to me is when it's usually a young father coming up going, I have a little girl, and I've been watching your videos on how to be a good girl dad, and it's really impacted me, and I'm doing those things you suggest. I'm telling my daughter I love her. I'm spending time with her. Or it's something with like, I got a little boy, and I'm trying to like, help teach him how to be a man. Or
So your goal is to crash the next generation OnlyFans market.
yeah, completely just destroy that. It's like, yeah.
Raise a generation of good fathers.
Good. And it's true. There are very few problems that you see within American society right now that can't be solved by, I think, a good God-fearing dad that's strong, competent, and intelligent. And we need a whole lot more of it. And men need to know that it's not only okay, it's absolutely necessary. There is this whole idea that we don't need men in society. Okay, until you got to fight a fire, a war, or police streets, then all of a sudden we're popular again. Screw you. And so the more we can do to kind of build that, where we're building strong families, strong young men, strong young women, that's what we're passionate about. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Love it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm fired up on an early Friday afternoon, we're going to go ahead and call it.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the after show and
Well,
have fun there.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Unsubscribed podcast. Again, I was joined today by Eli Doubletap, Fat Electrician, Nick Freitas. Where do we find you?
Virginia. Oh, we made it easy. Virginia. Yeah.
Virginia at Virginia.com.
The answer part, Nick J. Freitas. We made it easy. If you just type in Nick Freitas or anything close, you'll find us on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere else.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you either in the next episode or on the Patreon after show. Bye-bye.
Love you. Peace.